This young man was once the top solo player of the game Connect, but Hyan never imagined that this moment would come. He was being skewered by a bunch of crazies just for being too dominant in the game, but right after that, a voice kept ringing in his ears, urging him, "Sir, sir, wake up!" Hyan opened his eyes wide and sat up bewildered by the strange surroundings before him. His mind suddenly felt hazy. What just happened? Did he get stabbed to death? At that moment, the previous voice rang out again. "Are you okay, sir?" Looking over, Hyan saw the maid sitting next to the bed along with an information panel hovering above her head. Level 3, Anna. Not only that, he could also see a notification board that he couldn't access before stating that the soul stabilization was activated and the Beta Connect system was online. Right now, you can use the user interface. Current access 1 user. Is this a joke? Does this mean this is the world inside Connect? After calming down, Hyan stepped out onto the balcony, gazing at the royal-style mansion before him. Feeling the gentle breeze caress his skin, he could draw one conclusion. He could feel everything. This sensation was completely different from when he linked with his character. The synchronization level with Connect would determine his strength. In Connect, the average player's synchronization level is around 30%, but for Hyan, it was nearly 90%. He could maintain the #1 rank for 15 rounds, until the big guilds showed up. Thinking about this made Hyan feel regretful. He no longer had that body. What a waste of time leveling up. He had already increased those physical stats a lot, but whatever. It said this was the global beta, and currently he was the only player using the system in this world. So Hyan decided to try operating the system. He could still see the item inventory in this beta version. Just then, the system suddenly announced it was scanning user information and had detected a locked user account. It was updating information immediately, and fragments of Raul's memories flooded into Hyan's mind. Enduring the terrible headache, Hyan silently encouraged himself, using the information and power from his past life to climb to the top again. His name is Raul Aston, the youngest son of Aston. The 5th count of the Kingdom of Reuben and the Aston territory was the first to collapse in Connect. This information left Hyan stunned. The Aston territory was one of the noble families with power in the Kingdom of Reuben. The Count and his eldest son died unexpectedly, while the second son went missing after the youngest son took over the territory. A coup occurred during these disasters, and while this was happening, the barrier of the Forbidden Area broke, allowing the invasion of monsters. In 3 years, this beautiful city would be destroyed. Looking out at the bustling city before him, Hyan silently resolved that he couldn't let that happen. He was no longer living the life of Bidu Hyun or his crush. This was his last chance. As Bidu Hyun, he had struggled so much. If he lost the opportunity to live here again, that would be too sad. There was only one way to prevent this place from collapsing. He had to become stronger. In a month, the traditional coming-of-age ceremony of the Aston territory would take place. If he could reach the semi-finals of that competition, he could enter the kingdom's academy where he would grow stronger to protect his life. He was determined, but when he picked up the sword, Hyan felt something was off. Why was this body so tired after just swinging the sword a few times? Panting heavily, Hyan opened his personal information panel to check and couldn't help but be amazed. He was level 5, just 2 levels above that maid. It seemed he had to start right away. Time to train for the upcoming competition. A month after the competition began, Hyan, along with the other contestants, headed to the arena to prepare for the next round. You had to endure a lot of pain to get through the qualifiers to confirm again because Hyan sneaked into a less crowded corner and checked the system board. According to the latest test, I'm at level 13. My stamina has improved a lot, so I'm ready to fight, but I still have plans for the upcoming matches. I will make it to the semifinals. While secretly celebrating, Hyan instinctively sensed danger behind him and immediately jumped to the side to dodge. "Oops, sorry I slipped." The guy was about to throw a sneak punch. Do-hyun raised his guilty hand jokingly and then asked Do-hyun with a mocking expression, "So are you here to compete too? I thought you'd be hiding in your room crying." Do-hyun stared intently at the young man in front of him. According to Raul's memories, he was Dion, the second son of the Marquis Austin Raul's uncle, and the guys behind him were his cousins. Previously, he used to bully Raul in the sword training class, and the instructor and the count would let him run wild because the family's motto was to train as if in real combat. On the training field, everyone was equal. No one was responsible for injuries during practice, which meant he was just a trashy bully picking on someone weaker than him. Thinking this, Do-hyun looked at him with disdain, not bothering to respond. At that moment, Dion continued to threaten Raul. "You should back off while you still can." This time it's not just a bone. No, I'm going to break every bone in your body, he said, then turned to remind his buddies to let him through. No, he's crying again. Now looking at Dion, who was smirking, Do-hyun thought to himself, Dion, do you really think you'll win this competition? But keep laughing. I will crush you in the final match. That night, the butler brought the report about the competition to the study for Count Melvin Aston Raoul's father. The Count took the report. By the way, is there anyone useful regarding this? The butler hesitated to answer, and when he looked at the report, the Count understood why the butler had such an expression. Where is Raul now? The butler smiled and replied, after finishing his meal, the young master returned to his room. I think he has exhausted himself in the qualifiers and has gone to rest. All right, you can go out now. Melvin looked serious as he ordered, but as soon as the butler left, he couldn't help but laugh heartily. That's my boy, he did it! He made it to the official group round. I never forced him to learn how to wield a sword because he was weaker than his brothers, but a month before the competition, he started practicing. At first, he could only last 10 minutes before collapsing. But he never gave up. I know he was bullied during training because of his weak body, but if I help him, he won't grow stronger. He needs to do everything on his own. I have to wait until he stands up by himself, but this is truly beyond my expectations. When the finals are over, I should go see him for a bit. On the day of the finals, while the match was ongoing, some spectators couldn't help but start shouting, "Come on, do something. Stir up the atmosphere. Don't drag this out any longer. Finish him off." At that moment, Edmond was also having a headache looking at his opponent, thinking to himself, how is this weakling still not down yet? The more he thought about it, the more frustrated he became, and Edmond charged in for another furious attack. But in the end, Raul, just like before, defended himself without missing a beat. Stir the atmosphere up, don't drag it out any longer, and finish him off. At this moment, Edmond was also feeling frustrated as he looked at his opponent, thinking to himself, how is this weakling still standing? The more he thought about it, the angrier he got, and he charged at him once again with fury. But in the end, Raul, just like before, blocked every single attack without missing a beat. The audience, initially bored, began to feel a sense of admiration as they watched him deflect the attack again. How many times has he held on for this long now? He'll make it, I know he will. You little mouse, you can't keep running forever. Don't you feel ashamed for dodging like that? When you're part of the Count's family, huh? Edmond was starting to tire, furious as he charged at Raul, cursing him, while Raul effortlessly parried his strikes, even mocking him. I can't hear what you're saying. Finish him off, Edmond. You've dragged this out long enough. I bet all my money on you. I'm not joking anymore. Let's end this match. Edmond's expression turned serious as a blue light enveloped his sword, causing murmurs to ripple through the stands. That's a mana sword. He needs to dodge that attack immediately. If it hits, he's done for. Raul, with Edmond's eyes turning red with rage, charged at him, and Raul showed no intention of dodging. This left Edmond feeling confused. Was he really not going to dodge? That thought flashed quickly through his mind as Edmond refocused and swung at Raul. A loud explosion echoed, sending dust flying up, obscuring the view. The audience held their breath, waiting for the outcome. As the dust settled, the referee unexpectedly stepped in between Edmond and Raul, announcing that the match was over. The winner is Raul. The result sent the stands into an uproar. The youngest son of the Count's family had won. No way. Edmond, dissatisfied, slammed his sword onto the ground, his face contorted with anger as he approached the referee. I won't accept this. How is he the winner? If you hadn't stopped me. Before Edmond could finish, the referee cut him off, pointing at the small, still bleeding wound on Edmond's neck, scolding, Look at your neck! If I hadn't stopped the match, you'd be dead by now. At that moment, feeling the sharp pain in his neck, Edmond realized the truth. Raul hadn't just stood there taking hits as he had thought. He had actively targeted his neck. The thought of almost meeting his ancestors terrified Edmond. His legs turned to jelly as he collapsed to the ground. Raul approached him confidently. His voice rang out sharply. We need to have a little chat about how you insulted the Count's family after this match. Back home alone in his room, Hyan couldn't help but excitedly shout, Oh my God, I really won! He quickly checked his status screen, noting that his swordsmanship level had increased to level 9 novice. It seemed his plan to use the game's features to gain extra experience points and mastery by fighting stronger opponents was working. The longer he fought against stronger opponents, the more experience points he earned. That's why he had deliberately prolonged the fight with Edmond. This strategy was effective due to the game's mechanics. Do-hyun chose to gain higher experience points, but in return, he would lose the option to respawn. It was a high-risk, high-reward difficulty mode. Status: Raul, level 19. Novice swordsman, novice psychic location, Aston territory. Title: youngest son of the Count's family. Stats: strength 22, agility 25, stamina 19, intelligence 15, will 34, mana 29, spirit 35, senses 30, unique trait, dragon master of psychic arts, royal lineage. If in normal mode: 22 agility, 25 stamina, 19 intelligence, 15 willpower, 34 mana, 29 mental strength, 35 senses, 30 unique trait, dragon royal observer if in normal mode. Then I wouldn't have been able to level up this much in just a month. The best part is that I have the unique trait of Dragon Royal Observer, which used to belong to Beidou Hyun, and the Dragon Royal Observer is Raul's trait in this game. The remaining traits will unlock after I level up, Hyun thought for a moment before tapping a point on the screen, or using this in the upcoming matches. Let's see, in the following days, Raul continuously won. He made a straight path to the finals, and alongside the praise, there were also plenty of whispers about Raul's victories. Some believed he was just lucky. Others thought he must have used some tricks. Raul was aware of all those remarks, but he brushed them off. The citizens in the early stages didn't know about the powers the players possessed. So it's best for him to keep the fact that he can use mental manipulation a secret until the other players arrive. Remembering his grand performance when he pretended to be out of breath from exhaustion during the fight, Raul couldn't help but chuckle to himself. Hey, with my acting skills, I can definitely hide it. Just then, a voice called from outside. Sir, it's Ivan. Ah, come in, Raul replied, granting permission. The butler, Ivan, stepped in looking worried and asked, Are you hurt anywhere? I'm fine. Even if I were hurt, I have a priest and a healer waiting, Raul said. Suddenly, Ivan stepped closer, grasping Raul's shoulder, reminding him, Even so, don't let your guard down. Please remember that there are wounds they cannot heal. All right, I'll be careful, Raul replied, smiling at Ivan's gentle demeanor, feeling a bit flustered inside. He was genuinely worried about him, and he wasn't used to this, because in his past life he had never felt this way. At this moment, Raul decided to change the subject. So what about what I asked you? I've done as you requested, Ivan said, handing Raul a piece of paper, then hesitatingly asked, Are you sure about this? Sir Dion, Raul spoke reassuringly. Don't worry, I will win. I believe in you. I'll head out now, Ivan said. With that, Ivan bowed respectfully and turned to leave. On his way out, Ivan couldn't help but reminisce about Raul's earlier expression. It reminded him of the confidence the Count had when he was young, but the final opponent was Sir Dion. Anyone who faced him would be left with brutal injuries. Meanwhile, inside the room, Raul looked at the numbers on the paper Ivan brought. In an instant, he felt delighted. What's this? The betting system of the Aston domain had created a legal betting system regarding the success of the competition, and the bets were also in the hands of the participants. Competing like this is enough to secure my position in the family. All that's left is to crush Dion. Finally, the day of the final match has arrived. Raul confidently steps onto the stage, facing Dion's usual disdainful gaze as the referee announces. And now the final match is about to begin. You can do this. Get ready to be defeated by Dion. This time you have to win with skill. Raul, Raul, Raul. The cheers of the audience in the arena echoed as they called out his name. I don't know how you made it this far, but I will make you regret facing me. Those cheering for you will soon realize how useless you are. I really want to see you crawling on the ground begging me. In response to Dion's threat, Raul just yawned and asked if he was done flapping his gums. Dion, infuriated, unleashed a massive amount of mana, glaring at Raul and cursing, "You arrogant fool!" The audience gasped. "Look at his mana! Raul can't win!" Raul didn't respond. He was focused on something else. Dion, level 42, a master knight with a sword connected to the Austin Marquis title known as the Star of the Austin Marquis, a swordsmanship genius. Potential rating: beast strength 52, agility 41, endurance 43, intelligence 18, wisdom 14, mana 32, perception 21. After reviewing Dion's stats, Raul thought, he really is putting on airs. His potential is only B. He looks strong, but this is his limit. Just then, the referee loudly announced the start of the match. "I will kill you!" As soon as Dion finished speaking, Raul sprang into action, dashing forward at incredible speed and leaping high. He swung his sword down hard at him. Dion was a bit startled and quickly raised his sword to block. After the impact, both were pushed back by the recoil. Regaining his balance, Dion angrily shouted, "Damn you, show-off!" Raul silently assessed him, thinking he was less resilient than he expected. His strength is also mediocre. The two continued to duel with Dion, swinging his sword repeatedly, but he never succeeded in dealing damage to Raul simply because Raul could see through all his attacks. In the end, he caught his opponent off guard. Raul kicked out, tripping Dion, who fell face first onto the ground. Raul was suspicious in his heart. His swordsmanship is good, but he has no real combat experience, so it's extremely mediocre. Raul had been bullied by this guy before. Dion got up, holding his nose, gritting his teeth, and cursing, "Damn it! You tripped me, I'll kill you!" Raul calmly observed Dion, wondering if he only knew how to use mana with a sword. Then, to everyone's astonishment, Raul swung his sword incredibly fast, knocking Dion's sword far away while saying, "What a disappointment, I'm really let down by you. You're nothing at all, Dion." Furious, Dion shouted and charged at Raul again, but Raul repeated the same trick, tripping him and sending him rolling on the floor. Raul continued, "You're so hot-headed, making the same mistake over and over. Look at you, truly embarrassing the reputation of the Austin Marquis." Dion, now furious, stood up again and charged at Raul, yelling, "I will kill you," but Dion's voice suddenly fell silent. He had been knocked unconscious by Raul's punch to the head, lying sprawled on the ground. Some people who knew Dion couldn't believe it, whispering, "No way did Dion really go down." At this moment, Raul looked at the referee, who was dumbfounded, and asked, "Is my opponent down? Is the match still going on?" Regaining his composure, the referee loudly declared, "The winner of the mature tournament is Aston Raul. Aston, the young master I believed in. That weakling won." Raul stood in place, accepting the cheers of the crowd. Suddenly he felt his body drained of all strength and fell down secretly, thinking how glad he was to have won. But this terrible endurance. Seeing this, someone shouted from the stands, "Young master healer!" While receiving treatment, Raul checked the tournament system board, completing the task. Checking the task rewards for the mature tournament level D, the goal was to reach the semifinals of the tournament with additional rewards based on the final ranking. The championship of the tournament was completed. Experience reward of 300 for the player shop, random skill level E and below, additional reward of 5 experience points for skill level D and below. Raul thought to himself, "All right, I've completed the mission. Now I can go to the Royal Academy." At the same time, in an observation room, Ivan stood behind Melvin and suddenly spoke up, "I'm so proud of the young master. In just 1 month, he has matured so much." Melvin pondered, "The boy has been joking around with Dion. If it really has only been a month, then he truly is a genius." However, in the arena, Raul noticed that Melvin was watching him. He cheerfully waved at his father, thinking, "Dad is watching. He must know I'm good enough to go to the academy now." That night, Melvin sat in his room calm and said, "I won't allow Raul to question why. As long as you make it to the semifinals, you can go." Melvin explained, "That depends on the situation. From what I've seen, Raul, you need to stay by my side longer. You seem a bit too self-satisfied. Stay here a little longer and—" Raul interrupted. "Learning martial arts is a lifelong journey. Didn't you always say that I want to go to the academy to learn just like you said? You can't stop me, right, ha? The boy has really grown up." Sighing softly, Melvin slowly stood up, drew his sword, and pointed it at Raul, saying, "All right, then. If you really want to go, you have to get past me. I won't go easy on you. So what are you going to do now?" A month later, Raul sat in the carriage deep in thought. "Finally, I've escaped. When Dad tried to stop me, I charged straight at him and then collapsed with just one blow. Even though he said he only used a fraction of his strength, that hit was clearly full force. But the powerful lord of the 5th territory will die at the moment the world begins to unite. After that, this territory will quickly collapse." Raul turned to look back at the castle behind him, determined to prevent that collapse. "Dad has to live because he let me go like this. So I'm determined not to disappoint him. I will become stronger and protect this family. I can't afford to lose anything." At the same time, Melvin stood in front of his room, recalling the day he and Raul fought. Melvin stood in front of Raul, who was struggling and panting, urging him to give up. "No matter how many times you try, it will be the same." Raul, with a determined expression, replied, "I will never give up." Hearing this, Melvin suddenly grinned and cheerfully shouted, "I commend that perseverance. That's how you earn the name Aston. Come on, attack me." Raul said nothing more. He focused his spirit and struck with all his current strength. The trajectory of that sword strike. Startled, Melvin used his sword to block, but a small wound appeared on his face. He frowned, wondering if something had changed midway. Standing opposite Raul, thought to himself, "Even using my mental energy only left Dad with a small scratch." Remembering these things, Melvin watched the carriage moving further away and softly said, Looks like it's time to admit that Raul is no longer just a kid. He is now a proud swordsman. Go on, Raul, go and see the world out there. By evening, the group found a clear spot in the woods to set up camp and light a fire. Raul walked up to a man and asked, "Sir Philip, how much farther until we arrive?" Status system. Name Philip, 42 years old, level 92. Occupation Knight High Rank Organization, Aston Territory, renowned for his swordsmanship, potential rating S Strength 82, Agility 76. Stamina 81, Intellect 68, Spirit 77, Mana 76, Perception 73, Special Traits, Oscar's Strength, Exceptional Leadership, and Passion for Swordsmanship. Philip replied, "At this pace, it will take about 5 more days. Should we speed up?" Raul thought for a moment and decided, "No, we still need to train the soldiers. Let's maintain this speed." Philip nodded. "I understand." Including himself and his subordinates, the family had chosen a total of 50 people among them, 3 seasoned knights, including Philip, and 6 trainee knights, 15 trainees, and 20 cavalry, all with potential rated B or higher. Their numbers and skill levels were decent, but to prevent the territory from collapsing, they needed to become stronger. While Raul was deep in thought, Jack approached to report, "Young master, the carriage maintenance is complete and ready for use." Raul smiled and praised, "Good job, Jack, but do we really need to bring so many people to that place?" In a month before Jack could finish, Philip interjected, "All right, Jack, don't question the young master's orders." Raul chuckled and said, "Just wait until we get there, then you'll understand." In his heart, Raul silently thought that the reason he brought them here was to the free city of Meera one of the city's players would visit after completing their tasks. The tutorial for this city had many hidden quests and items, and the mana that could be used would be limited to prevent others from overwhelming the newcomers. Above all, the resources here were infinite, driving players crazy about this place. The territory of the divine monster here was excellent for new players starting out. The divine territory was the main reason he wanted to bring everyone here. Many had even brought armies before to sharpen their skills and help them level up faster. It was a perfect plan, and a few days later the group arrived in Meera. A system notification appeared before Raul announcing that the system had been updated. A new feature community linkage had been unlocked along with new guild categories and quests. The starting point for travelers and gathering skills had been registered. Just stepping into Meera, and there was already a new quest. He thought he wouldn't be able to use any features until the official launch. Great, maybe if I meet the requirements, I can unlock other features. Just then, Jack came over, knocking on the card, asking, "Sir Raul, can you meet with the mayor right now?" "Would you like to?" Raul replied, "Of course I need to meet him." In the city of Meera, Ronaldo looked surprised as he addressed his subordinate, "Who is it?" The subordinate replied, "It's the youngest son of Count Aston, Raul Aston. He came here with 50 strange people." Ronaldo said, "Ah, that third son known for being useless, huh? What's he doing here on vacation? Let them in. His family is doing well thanks to trading materials from monsters. But now we'll run out of his money." "Yes, sir." Shortly after, Raul was brought to the mayor's office. As soon as he entered the room, he proactively greeted, "Hello, Mayor Ronaldo." Ronaldo smiled broadly and said, "Welcome, Sir Raul. What brings you to Meera?" The fake smile was truly a sly move, as Raul silently cursed under his breath while shaking hands with Ronaldo and then walking with him to the tea table. As soon as they settled into their seats, Ronaldo asked, "So let's get straight to the point. Mr. Raul, what brings you to Meera?" Raul replied, "I heard there's a great training spot here." Ronaldo chuckled and said, "Of course you've come to the right place. Meera is the safest place to train," Ronaldo continued, but Raul interrupted. "You can't just pick any ordinary place." "I want you to allow me to enter the Forbidden Forest," Raul exclaimed. "What, the Forbidden Forest? That's way too dangerous, especially with guys like you and those young folks." "Indeed, I have no other choice now." "Looks like I can't give you the 500,000 gold tip anymore," Raul said, pulling out a full bag of coins and holding it up in front of Ronaldo. 500,000 gold, huh?" Ronaldo gasped, his eyes lighting up as he jumped up, grabbing the bag of gold from Raul's hands. "Come on, Mr. Raul, I was just joking. What's the Forbidden Forest compared to you and your night squad?" "I grant you permission to enter the Forbidden Forest right here." Raul let go of the bag of coins and smiled. "I knew a generous market like you would allow us." In his heart, he thought the last thing left to do was to take the lead. "And then snatch all the treasures. I'll soon climb to the top of this game." Meera, the city of freedom built for players, currently has no players except Raul, as it is still in beta. That's why the city is facing a crisis. There are many building shops, guild headquarters, and various facilities here completely contrasting with the population. The demand for land has caused prices to plummet, which is why Raul's true purpose for coming here is real estate. If he can seize all the cheap land in Meera, it will be used to build villas for Nobles Guild headquarters for players and even housing. At that point, land prices will skyrocket 100-fold when players show up. And when war breaks out, like in the past, the city blessed by God Meera will become the perfect refuge. Just by taxing the land, he could earn quite a bit. But even that won't be enough. I need to prepare more thoroughly for the battle and the upcoming risks. I can't stand against those filthy big guilds from my past life. Your financial power is strong, and this time will be different. The first thing Raul did after meeting the market was to register to establish a guild. So I just need to sign here, Jack asked, looking confused. Raul struggled to suppress his desire to punch him, repeating for the umpteenth time, "Yes, everyone else has signed. You're the only one left. Just sign here." But my mom told me to be careful when signing documents. After a while, under the pressure from the capitalists, Jack finally unwillingly signed the papers, helping Raul complete the registration for the guild first. With 51 members, I created the first guild in the world without any players, the very first and most advanced guild first. Raul glanced at the members of the group, especially Jack, who was sitting in a corner mumbling, "My mom is going to kill me," thinking that as a member they would receive system support. He was looking forward to their confused expressions. After establishing the guild, Raul continued to the Fighting Association branch in Meera to buy skill books. The skill books contained various skills inside, and if read carefully, one could learn those skills. Skills range from F to S, but at the Fighting Association branch in Meera, the highest skill book available is level C. Moreover, only VIP customers are allowed to purchase them. "What are the requirements to become a VIP customer?" Raul asked the staff member. "Either complete multiple purchases or buy a lot at once, but the second option would cost a lot, around 10,000 gold, which isn't too much." "All right, let me check the D-rank books first," Raul said as he placed a large bag of coins on the table, causing the staff member to look astonished. She immediately brightened up and asked, "Which line of books would you like to see first? Swordsmanship, archery, magic, or the kid's shield?" Raul naturally wanted to take them all, which meant he had to haul a bunch of overpriced books, causing Jack to complain. "It's so heavy. Mr. Raul, do we really need to clear all these books?" Raul, being mysterious, said it's annoying right now, but they will help you level up higher. Jack continued to question in a skeptical tone if these were really skill books. "But as a newbie, can you practice with these skill books?" Philip, who had been silent until now, chimed in, "I agree, we can use the money to buy books to get armor and weapons. Sir, tomorrow the two of you will find out, so don't worry, just be patient." Returning to see books in every nook and cranny, Raul began to feel that the words he had heard made sense. Perhaps it really was too much. A player can't use unlimited skills. There are limits, so usually players can't use many skills. Suddenly remembering something, Raul hurriedly opened the quest window and checked his inventory. When he woke up in his body, there were 2 unknown items in his inventory that he couldn't click on or use. But then yesterday, when he received the quest, Raul was finally able to use those 2 items. One of them was a quest item for collecting skills, which was still undisclosed, with the goal of collecting at least 10 skill books and adding them to the skill list. Additional rewards would be based on the type of skill books collected, and one reward would activate the skill list, unlocking the skill attributes obtained. So I need to open the skill list and hold the skill book in one hand. Raul grabbed the skill list with one hand and randomly picked up a book about swordsmanship with the other and said to add it. Immediately, the skill book opened automatically. A stream of mana surged from the book, flew to the skill list, and then vanished. "All right," Raul exclaimed joyfully as he saw the swordsmanship skill appear in the previously empty skill list. But when he turned to look at the gigantic pile of books in front of him, his smile faded. "If I add all these by tomorrow, is there any way to add them all at once?" Just as Raul finished speaking, the skill books immediately flew up, opened in midair, and streams of mana escaped and jumped to the skill list. It understands what I'm saying. Surely it does. Indeed, many new skills were added to the skill list right after that. The system announced that the skill collection quest was complete. The rare skill list has been activated, and the additional reward for skill collection attributes has been unlocked. Raul received the additional reward for Mimicry level S without hesitation. Following that, the system continued to announce the skill collection level S, activating the skill list with the Mimicry skill, slightly increasing the ability to learn skills from skill books. Mastering Mimicry Level S allows a Level 3 newbie to steal skills from opponents. The targeted skills will be added to the skill list, and the more proficient you are, the more skills you can learn. The higher the level and strength of the skills also increase. Currently, Raul read the description of the new skill, and even a former top player like him couldn't help but be amazed. Incredible, I can steal and use someone else's skills. The rare skill list can level up with limits describing the simulation of a mythical item in the skill list. The skill records the lost ancient skills when crossing dimensions. It will regain its old power once you meet special requirements. Current skills 525. I knew it! This is a mythical item I obtained right before dying. Some parts of my past life, like the psychic attribute and items, have all gone. According to me, many of my skills have been lost, and it's just a simulation. The only things left are 3 S-level attributes and 1 item in my inventory. I wonder what kind of power it has. The next morning, just as Raul predicted, all the members of his entourage, now members of the First Guild, suddenly saw the system for the first time in their lives, leaving them bewildered. What is this guild frame I need to meet the priest? Raul stepped out of the room, his eyes heavy and dark like a tired panda after a sleepless night reading about the 6 skills. A male servant from the Nam family was waiting at the door and bowed respectfully as soon as he saw Raul come out. Good morning, young Master Bernard. Have you explained things to them yet? Yes, I have explained it as you instructed, but what about the skill book? Have you tried it yet? Raul asked, his eyes filled with anticipation. Bernard smiled and nodded, then demonstrated a few basic moves for Raul to see. This young man is Bernard, the servant of the Aston family and Yvonne's heir. He has been working for the family since he was young and was personally trained by Yvonne. He has a good memory and completes tasks quickly, but Raul chose him for a different reason. Bernard has the ability to control the wind. Witnessing Bernard create gusts of wind with his hands left Raul in awe. That's amazing, I knew you could do it. You're too kind, Bernard humbly replied. Immediately, Raul's system displayed Bernard's information. Name Bernard, age 27, level 21, occupation servant. Wind control apprentice linked with the Aston family. First guild management talent potential, rank of strength, 17. Agility, 18, stamina, 24. Intelligence, 53, willpower, 46. Magic power, 23. Senses, 4 management trait. Strict, a cool-headed bee. Glancing through Bernard's stats, Raul silently assessed him. His stats weren't great, but he was very sensitive and managed well. The preparation phase was complete, and Raul ordered Bernard to get ready to go. We'll leave as soon as the knights get used to the new surroundings. Upon entering the cursed forest of the Lord's land, they were immediately greeted by a large, foul-smelling oxer. It showed its hospitality by charging straight at Raul. Raul, standing still, smirked and said after deftly dodging its attack, then delivered a punch that sent the oxer flying, continuing to gaze in a specific direction. Bring it on! A horde of hundreds of oxers charged at Raul, but he showed no fear, even smiling confidently as he told them, "Come at me." The cursed forest, specifically the divine realm, not only included the leveling area, but encompassed the entire city of Meera. If players were injured, they would be healed. If players were killed, they would respawn in this blessed city. That's why this city is the best refuge. However, in the forest, the blessings only apply to the monsters, so even if they are killed, the number of monsters will not decrease. Humans cannot respawn in the cursed forest, and cannot take items obtained from hunting monsters out of the forest. If they try to take them outside, the items will turn to dust and disappear, meaning you are not allowed to touch the riches of the gods. But this rule only applies to the common people. For players like Raul, or those in the guild, they can take items obtained from the monsters out of the forest, including the horde of hundreds of oxers. Yet just a few minutes later, only the oxer chief remained alive, and it began to panic, looking at Raul and questioning, "What kind of power is that?" "That human." Suddenly, the weapons of the oxers, scattered on the ground, flew into the air at Raul's gesture, all heading straight for the oxer chief. This caused him to be obliterated instantly, so the oxer chief didn't even have time to hear Raul's answer about the skill that had wiped out his entire horde. Jack and Philip were observing the entire process of Raul's battle, and as soon as the fight ended, they rushed over to collect the spoils. "Mind control is indeed a handy ability," Jack couldn't help but exclaim. "Jack, stop talking and keep skinning the oxers," Philip reminded him. Hearing this, Jack sighed and replied, "I didn't come all the way to Meera to do this. What I mean is, this training session must have helped us improve a lot." While Jack and Philip were busy skinning the oxers, Raul was also putting the filtered spoils into a sack. As he worked, he expressed his gratitude, saying, "Thank you. Thanks to everyone's help we got to this point. If everyone just follows the skill book, they can get stronger." Philip might not say anything, but deep down he agrees with Raul. Earlier, he had also tried to attack an oxer. Yet with just one slash of his sword, he cut the oxer in half, leaving even a seasoned swordsman like him surprised and exclaiming, "That's amazing." At that moment, Raul smiled smugly and said, "This is why we buy skill books instead of gear." Thinking about this, Philip felt a bit confused. How did he learn this sword technique so quickly? How did the young master discover this strange ability among everyone? Just then, the guild information board suddenly appeared. After reading it, Philip's expression changed and he hurriedly shouted, "Young master in the guild section, I see it too." Raul, filled with murderous intent, ordered, "We need to head back to Meera right now." At the same time, in Meera, the members of the first guild who weren't training in the Forbidden Forest were being tormented by the house of Count Rando. "I should have done this sooner. Seeing those Aston kids quietly here, I couldn't hold back." Ramon, the eldest son of Count Randall, said while stabbing a soldier from Raul's group in the back with his large sword, looking pleased. In another corner, Jerry, the second son of Count Randall, did the same as his brother, wearing an equally smug expression. "Why are you doing this?" An Aston soldier, beaten and bruised, still unwilling to back down, asked only to be met with a punch to the face from Killer, the third son of Count Randall. "Simply because we don't like you. You're really unlucky to have run into us in this city. Soon you'll regret it." Our young master wouldn't wait for the soldier to finish his sentence. Ramon drove his sword deeper into the soldier's flesh, then yanked it out, forcefully causing the soldier to suffer in pain. Seeing this, Ramon laughed even louder, his face twisted with madness. "Please tell him to hurry up and die. We have issues to settle with that young master, too. This is strange. They keep reviving." Ramon looked at the soldier he had just killed, now resurrected, and continued to torment the unfortunate soldier with the same old tricks. Hearing this, Jerry chimed in, "Hey, let's deal with that Raul kid the same way. I thought noble families weren't allowed to point swords at each other within the free city," Killer, a bit cautious, asked. Ramon shrugged and replied, "What's the big deal? Just say it wasn't us. What can they do? Think about it. This is a good opportunity. How often do we get to see them here? Besides, we can crush the Aston family. Maybe our grandfather will praise us." Just as Ramon finished speaking, he lost his head in front of his stunned followers. Jerry and Kayla looked in the direction of the mana surge that had just killed his brother. At that moment, a young man with shiny golden hair was unleashing mana, looking at them with eyes full of rage, saying each word clearly, "How dare you insult the Count's family? Aston, huh? You will pay many times over. Your deaths are not enough for me. Are you insane to dare touch the young master of the Randall family?" Jerry shouted loudly while Killer turned to criticize his subordinates. "What are the engineers doing? How did he manage to get this close?" A soldier from Rando is trembling as Philip holds a sword to his neck, answering Kayla, thinking they are the main forces of the Aston family. "We have surrounded all the Rando engineers as you ordered, young master. I assure you there are no civilians around," Philip reports to Raul. "You all did great." Raul praises them and then uses his mind to teleport the three soldiers being tormented by Rando to Bernard's location, ordering Bernard to take them to the shrine. Then he pulls out a sword from the supply box and boldly declares, "I will personally clean up this trash." The Randall Marquis, like the Aston Count, is one of the 5 largest military families in the Reuben Kingdom. But unlike the Aston family, Randall does not have a long history. The 4 major military families have reformed into 5 military families when the current head of the Randall Marquis family, Houston, reached the level of swordmaster, having only recently come into existence. They have used various methods to strengthen their position, organizing a large cavalry, achieving many great feats, and crushing every enemy with the Aston territory being their target. Because no swordmaster has appeared for a long time, the Aston territory has lost its former strength, and this has been happening for quite a while. The 2 families have clashed in many places across the kingdom, mostly instigated by the Rando family, and because they have many swordmasters, Rando is always predicted to be the victor. Randall's forces also thought that would happen in Meera until they encountered Raul. Jerry is now staring at Raul, silently assessing his extraordinary strength. "What is that? Did he just draw his sword from thin air?" The soldier, being controlled by Philip, taking advantage of the distraction, tries to stealthily draw his sword, but before he can even pull it out of its sheath, Raul slices him to pieces. Seeing this, the soldiers from Rando plan to charge, but the Aston forces surround them with weapons. Philip then speaks up, ordering, "The young master said you can protect yourself. Everyone lower your swords and don't interfere." Upon hearing the order, everyone immediately lowers their weapons, causing Jeremy, the commander of the Randall Defense Knights, to be astonished. Are they really putting down their swords? Are they crazy? Either way, this is advantageous for Feta. Do you want to fight us alone? This isn't a training match. Kina suddenly charges forward, swinging a mace to attack Raul. But before he can accomplish anything, Raul slices him in half. Killer Jerry lets out a shout and then turns to scold his subordinates. "You idiots, can you only stand there? I guess I have to step in now. I was standing here because I didn't want to bully a 15-year-old kid. But if you don't draw your sword when your comrade falls, that's not acceptable." Jeremy slowly walks forward, drawing his sword instead of issuing a challenge. Immediately, information about Jeremy appears before Raul's eyes. Jeremy's status: 37 years old, level 65, occupation commander of the Defense Knight Swordsmanship Expert Relationship, Randall Marquis. Randall Knight. Potential rating B strength 66, agility 72, stamina 68, intelligence 48, willpower 63, mana 70, senses 55, unique trait explosive rating C. Rando looks at Jeremy and the three soldiers pointing their swords at him. 72 stamina, 68 intelligence, 48 willpower, 63 mana, 70 perception, 55 unique trait C rank explosion. Rando looked at Jeremy and the three soldiers pointing their swords at him. Deep down, I quietly concluded that the key weapon of the Rando clan is the sword. I guess they are all elite troops with the commander at level 65, while the other elite soldiers are all at level 60. Currently, I'm only at level 45, so I can't win in a conventional way. Seeing Raul suddenly go silent, I thought he was scared, so 2 out of the 3 elite soldiers from the Rando clan started to taunt him, saying, "What's wrong? Why don't you just stop? We think you've played enough already. We won't care even if you're a young master." That soldier hadn't even finished his sentence before Raul sliced him down, then he continued to unleash a powerful strike, slamming his sword into the ground. Successfully obscuring the enemy's vision, he took out the second elite soldier just as Raul was about to deal with the next one when Jeremy swooped in like a gust of wind. He aimed his sword directly at Raul, but luckily Raul's sharp instincts allowed him to swing his sword forward just in time to block Jeremy's attack, causing him to be pushed back a few meters. Just like that, 2 elite soldiers had already fallen. I heard he's weak and can't even swing a sword. Thinking about this, Jeremy pulled out another sword from his side and said to Raul, "You're nothing like the rumors. From now on, I will take you seriously." Raul, unafraid, replied, "Come at me, you bastard." In his mind, Raul predicted the attack, ready to parry and use the sharp edge technique of his family, the Rando. Jeremy suddenly smirked and said, "I like your courage. But you know that in Meera, all wounds will heal, right? You can't fight us alone." Raul opened his mouth to retort, "I think you're the one who's mistaken. I bet that after coming to Meera, you and your knights haven't even practiced anymore." Jeremy was startled, thinking, how does he know? Seeing Jeremy's expression, Raul explained, "How would I know that? Even if their wounds have healed, those soldiers trembling over there are living proof. They're still not used to death. This guy not only understands combat, he can see through everything. He's a threat, I think to myself." Jeremy then ordered his subordinate beside him, "Cover me from behind." The subordinate replied, "Leave it to me, sir." Then with the combined attack of Jeremy and his subordinate, Raul's face and body were soon covered in numerous small wounds. Suddenly, Raul seemed to make a mistake, panic flashing across his face. This made Jeremy's subordinate's eyes light up. "I see a gap," he thought, forgetting Jeremy's earlier command. He recklessly charged forward to attack Raul. Jeremy gasped, shouting loudly, but it was useless. Raul coldly swung his sword, slicing the subordinate's body in 2. Jeremy gritted his teeth, muttering, "You idiot." "Damn it, I can't waste any more time," Jeremy thought decisively, using the Rando sword skill. Raul was a bit surprised, but quickly raised his sword to defend. His expression was serious as he silently urged himself, "Come on." As soon as he clashed with Jeremy's technique, Raul felt a tremendous pressure. Just as he expected, this was a powerful skill famous for one-on-one combat. Even with all my focus, I have to push myself to keep up with this movement. Thinking this, Raul gritted his teeth, determined to maintain his defense, while Jeremy's expression was not good either. "How can this be? I'm definitely in the dominant position in this battle. I've pushed him back, yet I can't hold him down." Jeremy, furious, shouted, "What's with that arrogant look?" Raul replied, 100% now. Why did Sal respond to Jeremy's doubts with a lightning-fast sword strike from Raul? that knocked his weapon up while the system announced it had scanned 100% of the opponent's skills. Ready to use the copying skill to perfectly mimic the moves and add skills to the skill catalog, activating the Rando Starlight Sword technique. Hey, Raul chose to activate the Starlight skill and grab Jeremy's weapon, charging at him. Seeing this, Jeremy shouted, "How is this possible? This must be Starlight. Who is it? Who betrayed us and taught you this sword technique?" It was you who taught me." With that, Raul stabbed Jeremy with his own weapon, taking his life. The system status synchronized 100%, granting an S-level reward for mastery of the sword technique. The random Starlight B skill has been successfully adjusted to intermediate level 1. Added the random Starlight B sword technique to the skill catalog, equipping the skill in the skill selection slot to continuously use the random Starlight B sword technique. Raul let out a sigh, thinking it's over now. Using the S-level copying skill is tough because it's just too powerful. Copying is a skill I learned along with the skill catalog. It can mimic the opponent's skills, but I can only imitate one skill at a time, and I can't take my eyes off the target. Once the skill is activated, if the target leaves my sight, the scanning rate will revert to normal, so I have to keep my eyes on him when he attacks. Also, if it's not a one-on-one fight, I can't steal the skill. Next, Raul quietly ordered, activate the user's skill in the default skill slot, a sword technique Aston Intermediate Level 2, 2 Mind Skills Intermediate Level 2, 3 Mind Skills, Aston A Intermediate Level 1, 4 S-level copying skills, beginner level 6, basic meditation, E beginner level 8, skill selection slot, lightning C beginner level 6, random skill selection slot, authority D intermediate level 1. Thanks to the skill catalog, I can use 3 more skills. The selection slot will help me comfortably use 2 skills from the catalog. I'll use them here. After a moment of thought, Raul turned to look at Jerry. Jerry felt scared under Raul's gaze and questioned, "Who are you? How can you use Rando's sword technique?" Raul calmly replied, "Oh, so you're still here. Sir Philip, every time they revive for an hour, kill them again, okay?" Philip bowed respectfully and said, "Yes, sir." Then Philip ordered everyone, "Did you hear what he said? Kill them." "Understood." Jerry, seeing Philip approaching with a sword, was terrified and sat down on the ground, pleading, "Please spare me." There was no mercy at all. The area was filled with cries of despair. Raul stood aside, coldly observing everything, and when it was all done, he spoke up, "Let's go." In his heart, Raul told himself, "Blood debts must be paid in blood. This is not Earth or a game. This is reality unfolding before me. I must do everything to not lose it again. Even so, it means I have to wade through a deep pool of blood, but I won't back down." Meanwhile, Ronaldo was using binoculars to observe everything happening from a distance. What is going on with this world? According to the plan, when the Marquis Rando subordinates attacked that guy, it should have been my turn after mobilizing the guards for support, but that guy took down all 15 knights by himself. Suddenly, Ronaldo saw Raul below. He suddenly looked up, glaring at my position, which terrified him so much that he quickly crouched down, holding his head, thinking, how did he find me here? Isn't that guy just a pretty boy with a lot of money? Could it be? That guy is just a pretty boy with a lot of money, isn't he? Well, it seems so. He's an anonymous swordsman from the Count's domain, huh? If that's the case. He must have figured out my entire plan by now. Looks like I need to be really friendly with the Aston domain in the future. After a while, Raul returned to his place, checking the mission board for the hidden challenge against the rival clan with a successful rescue and punishment result rated B. The reward was 30,000 experience points and a ticket for a random B-level skill book, which can only be used at the player shop. Raul chuckled, thinking he might have gone a bit overboard. But these rewards are pretty good. On top of that, I managed to collect about 5,000 gold, a magic space pouch that can hold quite a bit of stuff, a unique sword, and a left arm from that scoundrel Lord Rando's gang. Raul pulled out a ticket and smiled, saying, "This B-level skill book ticket is really something." Then Raul frowned, mumbling to himself, wondering if he would completely fail when drawing from the skill book. Just thinking about it is already boring. I don't need anything too powerful, please. This time I just want a mid-tier item. Just as long as it's not junk, I'm good with that. After praying with his hands together, Raul tore the B-level skill book ticket, and the system announced he received the skill book for Trade Art Rivera B. Raul was overjoyed, clenching his fists and cheering, "Awesome trade art is the skill I need for my next destination. The capital, ha ha, I've got the luck of the gods on my side. Now there's just one more thing. There's still one important task to focus on in Meera, and I need to concentrate on this for a month. I'm sure I'll succeed." A week later, one evening in the forest, Raul had just successfully killed a monster. He was standing there resting and wiping the sweat off when the system board appeared, announcing that he leveled up to level 51. He had reached a level to receive rewards and could choose to upgrade to the feasible class of swordsman, a beginner class with skills related to swordsmanship inherited from Aston A+. The swordsmanship skill Rando P upgraded to intermediate level 2, meeting the conditions to advance from swordsman to master swordsman in the beginner class. As he transformed into an intermediate class, Philip and Jack approached, exclaiming, "Wow, that's amazing. A master swordsman at just 15 years old." Raul didn't rush to respond to them. He raised one hand high using the skill, and immediately small stones from the ground began to rise and spin above his head. Raul softly said, pointing towards the forest not far away, and the stones swirling above him seemed to receive the command and rush toward that direction. The impact broke many large tree trunks, but Raul didn't stop there. He drew his sword, jumped high, and used the skill to strike a large rock which shattered into many pieces. A deep trench was left on the ground, and Raul was a bit surprised, saying, "It's this powerful." Philip walked over praising, "That's truly incredible. No wonder you're the young master. Now you can perform it yourself right. Ha-ha, then we should take a break." But before Jack could finish, Philip yanked his ear, scolding him. "What are you relaxing for? Look how long you've been slacking off compared to the young master." "Just joking. I was just kidding, but since the young master has been training so hard, I suggested we take a little break." "Ha-ha, anyway, you only know how to talk." Raul laughed, saying, "Whether it's a joke or not, we can't rest just yet." Philip asked, "So what are you planning to do now?" Jack also asked if we should contact the family. The Count must be worried about this. Raul replied, "I'll report to the family myself later. For now, let's keep it a secret and just head back." "Yes, young master," Raul thought to himself, hoping he had hunted enough monsters and leveled up. He had already released all the bait. Now all he could do was wait for the fish to bite. "Hurry up! The Imperial hunting dogs are in the city of Meera at a shop on the street. Be careful." After sending off the last guest, the alchemist Nakia stretched and smiled, saying, "That's it for today. The medicine has been selling like hotcakes lately thanks to the stuff from the Aston territory. To brew the potions, I need materials from monsters, but some of those monsters rarely appear in the cursed forest, so I can't gather everything in time. But thanks to the people from the Aston territory starting to bring them in, I can now brew potions daily. Not only that, the folks from the Aston territory stop by the village shop every morning to ask about what happened the night before, if I need anything, and about the shop's business." Closing the shop, Nakia walked down the street and the image of Raul popped into her mind. She whispered, "Raul, huh? Even though he's a bit strange, I'm really grateful to him. He's quite handsome, too." Nakia's face suddenly flushed, and she slapped her cheeks, thinking, "Oh my God, what was I just thinking? Oh my God, Nakia, he's only 15 years old. He's 8 years younger than me, and he's a noble, too." Just as she got home, Nakia called out, "Nikki, I'm back." When no one responded, Nakia suddenly felt an ominous sense. Just as she was about to call out again, her expression changed when she saw a note pinned to the bed with a dagger. "We have your sister. If you want to save her, don't tell anyone about this, and wait for our further instructions." After reading the note, Nakia cried out, "No, please, no." She ran out into the streets in a frenzy. Her heart was in turmoil. No, it can't be Nikki. If she leaves the city, it will be very dangerous. I've heard many reports of kidnapping, so many that the royal family has started investigating. If those rumors are true, where can I go now? I can't go to the city authorities. The kidnapper might be watching me, and the guards won't leave the city even if I tell them. If I ask mercenaries or the adventurer guild, it would take them a long time to act. What should I do now? Suddenly, the image of Raul appeared in Nakia's mind. He had once told her that if she ever got into trouble, she could come find him. Asking Raul was the only feasible option at this moment, so Nakia, without hesitation, ran to find Raul. Immediately, Raul received a message from Pierce. "Nakia is on her way to you." Raul thought to himself and ordered everyone to take their positions and maintain their targets. "Report back if anything changes." After saying that, Raul opened the system window to access the Community Connect and entered the Connection Cafe. The Information Cafe was only for high-ranking members, which I had operated in my previous life. Since I was a well-known player, I could gather useful information. From fans and other information gatherers, this cafe had become a treasure trove of most of the classified information in Connect. It's lucky this cafe still exists. I can use this instead of my hazy memories to plan better. he thought as he looked at the information displayed for the search results. Meera's free city. Raul secretly hopes it will be all right. I've checked all the missions I can take on hoping everything will go according to plan when a soldier arrives to report Sir Nakia is here. All right, be polite to her. Raul orders the soldier, feeling a bit nervous inside, wondering if he can change her future. The alchemist, a mad sorceress, a bloodthirsty destroyer, the forbidden Nakia, the one who bears all these titles. She brings terror to everyone. She doesn't hesitate to experiment on humans to take revenge on the Empire, which is the main target of the chemical weapons she creates. As a result, many innocent people have been caught up in this. But now Nakia, who hasn't been corrupted, stands before Raul, desperately pleading for his help, seeing her panicked state. Raul gently grabs her shoulders, reassuring her, calm down. She'll be fine. I'll help explain the situation, just give me a moment. My sister has been kidnapped. She was supposed to be home 2 hours ago because our neighbor was taking care of her. Please find my sister, she's just a poor little girl. It's all my fault, don't worry, I will definitely find her. I think I know where she is. Really? Please save her? Raul smiles, assuring her, I'll let you know as soon as I find her, so just stay here. Bernard will help you, he says. Raul gestures towards Bernard to introduce him to Nakia. Bernard politely bows his head while reassuring the little girl, if you need anything, just let me know. You've made the right choice. The young master always keeps his promises. Once everything is arranged, Raul, along with Philip and Jack, leaves the city being pursued, and here is Philip pulling out a document to hand to Raul. I've been authorized by Mayor Ronaldo to start a patrol. At this moment, Raul's system also displays a notification for the mission to conquer the free city of Meera level D to B. Objective, defeat the fraudsters. Secondary objective, rescue the hostages and raid their hideout in the forest, describing a group of unidentified fraudsters operating in the woods around Meera. Mayor Ronaldo has requested a raid on the fraudsters who have kidnapped and interfered with their business. Restore peace by raiding the fraudsters' hideout. Reward a large amount of experience and recognition from the mayor. Did you give him the list of those rats? Philip honestly replies, yes, the mayor said he would reward us afterward. He was quite surprised. I handed him the list of the fraudsters in the city. I gathered information from 10 sources and data at the Connecting Cafe. I used many sources, so I'm sure this plan has no loopholes. With that thought, Raul feels reassured and sets off. Meanwhile, after a while of searching Pierce's group, the Golden Bear Knights of the Aston territory finally locates the fraudsters' secret base in the forest. Judging by the traces on the ground, it's definitely it. Pierce looks at the empty land below the hill, silently assessing. To be sure, Pierce jumps up to the high tree in front and tries to use his newly learned investigation skill. Instantly, Pierce's pupils turn red, and the empty land before him reveals itself as the fraudster's base surrounded by a massive barrier. At the entrance of the base, there are 2 archers sitting on a magic circle to guard it. The young master was right. I have to report this. After the message is sent through the system, PS immediately receives a response. We will be there in 5 minutes. PS stares at the message. Inside, there's a hint of nostalgia that reminds me of events from years ago. Raul, the youngest son, was known to be weak and lacking talent compared to his brothers. Many servants and knights were reluctant to accompany Raul, even though he was looking for volunteers, and it seemed no one was interested when Raul visited the training grounds. As he began to talk to the knights, Raul spoke with Pierce, and the first thing he said was that he wanted to push beyond his limits. And I will help you with that right away. Raul took Pierce's sword and pointed out the issues, and at that moment Pierce thought to himself, that's true. I did say I wanted to push beyond my limits, but how can this kid teach me? Still skeptical, Pierce followed Raul's instructions and was surprised to find that it actually worked. His movements with the sword became much smoother in the days that followed. Pierce couldn't stop thinking about Raul's advice. It would be tough to learn that powerful technique. His strength relied on agility, not brute force, so he should try honing his archery skills. I heard he was quite talented at archery at that time. Only a few people knew about Pierce's archery skills, yet Raul noticed. Believing that Raul could truly help him, Pierce decided to follow him. Now looking back, Pierce couldn't help but feel lucky. That was the best decision he ever made. Those who turned down his offer must regret it now. I don't know why. He hid his abilities from me. I reached the expert level using the skill book he gave me. I could even practice other skills. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to achieve this. Perhaps today would be the day he reveals his true strength. Lost in thought, he spotted a familiar figure and immediately jumped down from the tree, bowing respectfully. You have arrived, Sir Raul. Raul looked at the hidden base of the scammers, and immediately his system notified him of the scammers' hideout, which was of unknown identity. Level undisclosed size, undisclosed status, a high-level magic circle interfering with the viewer's sight. The magic circle will obstruct the vision of those approaching. Destroy the magic circle to enter and learn more about this area. The hideout in the city looked the same. The Empire's Granin spies were hiding in Meera. Raul thought it was boring. Usually, players would connect. They would take on missions from cities like Meera first and earn rewards for killing monsters or taking down scammers, but some scammers were quite unusual. Unlike the others, one slave trader kidnapped citizens from the city while mercenaries tried to succeed. But the most dangerous among them were the spies from the Granin Empire, the royal hounds that hunted players and extorted them, suppressing them, so they couldn't unite into powerful factions. They were also very important in the later part of the game, so I couldn't just let it be. With this in mind, Raul signaled to Pierce, who understood, and shot 2 arrows, taking down the 2 gatekeepers. Then Raul's party moved into the barrier with no one near the entrance anymore. I will eliminate the magic circle using the spell scroll I bought from the shop. Just as Raul was about to use the scroll, he discovered he could see the flow of mana. An idea suddenly popped into Raul's head, and he put the scroll away. Then he pulled out the sword from his inventory, channeled mana into it, and successfully stabbed to destroy the magic circle. Good, now I don't need to buy a scroll to destroy the magic circle anymore. To save money, Raul happily thought to himself, just as I expected. P.S. sighed internally and immediately ordered his subordinate Jackson to lure them in as per their plan. When it's time to advance, I'll make it clear. Jackson and Nin responded quickly, following the orders. Good, I have elite knights here. Let's go hunt them down. Raul thought to himself, then confidently stepped deeper into the base with his crew, the fruit trees. We don't need to capture them alive, just kill them outright. Don't forget to use this to finish them off, Raul said, raising his sword to remind Jack. Hearing this, Jack pouted, replying, I don't understand why we have to use this sword. But I'll follow your request. It seems like using weapons in this mission is quite unnecessary. Raul ignored Jack's disguised objections and began instructing Knight Pierce to be careful, observe the surroundings, and locate the kidnapped individuals. We need to prioritize rescuing Nikki, Nakia's sister. Philip heard the call, understood the intention, and immediately nodded to Raul. Once settled, Raul used his telekinetic skill to open the gate and entered with his teammates through a long, dark passage. Finally, they saw the base of the scammers. At the end of the path, Raul signaled to Pierce, and immediately Pierce's figure vanished, accompanied by a system notification. PS has successfully infiltrated the enemy base. Good, let the hunt begin. Raul thought to himself, glancing around to examine the high ceiling and the wooden fence surrounding them. Their level was about 30 to 31, not much different from ordinary bandits. Since I had thoroughly checked their base, giving orders became easier. Everything seemed normal. Raul signaled to Philip and Jack, and then the 3 began to act according to the plan. Raul ran straight up to the watchtower to deal with the soldiers there. Meanwhile, Jack and Philip handled the patrolling guards. Before long, a loud clash alerted the bandits to an intruder, and they quickly mobilized additional forces for backup. Raul, standing on the watchtower, shot arrows at the enemy. He also sensed their numbers increasing and their weapons were more sophisticated. Therefore, Raul's arrows gradually became ineffective against the shields they were using. One bandit, after discovering Raul's position, shouted, "Over there! Shoot him down!" Immediately, a rain of arrows flew toward Raul, but of course they were blocked by his telekinetic skill. Seeing the arrows frozen in midair made the archer bewildered. "This guy is stopping my arrows. We need support from below." The bandits below immediately rushed up to the tower. I guess I have to use that. Raul put away his bow and equipped the metal gauntlet, dealing with the approaching bandits while using his telekinetic skill to control the arrows that had been shot at him to counterattack them. Unfortunately, this attack wasn't enough to wipe out all the enemies. Many survived thanks to their thick armor. It seems I need to exert more force to pierce through their defenses, to penetrate their armor. So, Raul switched to using his sword to deal with the wounded. "Where are the others?" Raul curiously looked around and saw Philip and Jack handling the fleeing bandits, noticing Jack's disgusted expression as he swung his sword to eliminate a bandit. This made Raul feel frustrated with that damn guy. I only asked him to use the long sword, yet he acts like someone owes him money. He doesn't need to waste mana like that to take down these weaklings. I've told him many times to be careful not to reveal any traces of swordsmanship too much during secret missions, but whatever, I don't think it's worth worrying about. At the same time, Raul accidentally discovered a soldier sneaking up on Jack, ready to ambush him from behind when Pierce timely appeared to deal with that soldier. The shrimp and prawn have all been taken care of. Raul thought to himself, "I'm sorry, sir, we've searched every nook and cranny, but still haven't found Miss Nikki," Pierce reported with a sad expression. "It's okay, can you explain clearly to those who were captured?" Raul patted Pierce on the shoulder and asked, "Yes, we distributed clothes and food to them and told them to stay put until the battle is over." Jack, starting to have some doubts, asked, "Do you think there are any other enemies? Aren't they just bandits?" "That's right, but don't you find it a bit strange?" Raul began to analyze. First, Nikki was kidnapped but isn't here. Second, their numbers are large, but they're all just low-level thugs. Finally, I noticed a magic circle right at the entrance. Has anyone among you seen any sorcerer around here? In short, the important people and the hostages are all in another place, right? That's right. But if we can't find that place, then everything is for nothing. You see it right. P.S. Jack stood aside, scoffing, saying P.S. with a serious expression. I've checked all the suspicious places very carefully but didn't find anything. There seems to be a matrix around here. Or a high-level magic system. Raul, hearing that, couldn't help but admire. You just joined the guild less than a month ago and already have such excellent insights. Soon no one will be able to outsmart you. Thank you, sir, Pierce replied cheerfully, while the young Jack beside him pouted, saying nothing, but it seemed he was feeling envious of Pierce. All right, follow me, I think I know where they are. Raul led everyone to a house, then ordered, "Search this place. If you find anything suspicious, report it immediately." After a while, both Jack, Philip, and Pierce couldn't find anything suspicious, so Raul had to take action himself. As soon as he stepped into the fourth house, he drew his sword from his bag and stabbed it straight down into the floor. A secret door immediately appeared before their eyes. Behind the door was a staircase leading down to a dark basement. Suddenly, a strange noise came from inside the basement. Raul loudly warned everyone, "There's something coming up." Just a few seconds later, a grotesque hand emerged from the basement, and then gradually a red monster appeared. Right after that, other monsters slowly advanced. Philip immediately directed everyone to stand still. If we spread out, it would be harder to fight because Raul was the one who opened the door. He was also the first person the monster saw when it came out of the basement, so it chose him as its first target to attack, extending its hand with sharp claws towards Raul. But Raul, of course, didn't just stand there and take it. He dodged the monster's attack and countered with his sword, causing the monster to be lightly injured and retreat a few steps back. "They are demon cavalry. Their weakness is different from humans. You have to decapitate them," Philip said while fending off the monsters, giving strategies to his teammates. Jack couldn't help but curse. "What the hell are they doing here? The demon cavalry hasn't fully evolved. Level 41 type, Gran in one type of combat." He looked at the information board and then at how his teammates were handling the monsters. Raul couldn't help but sigh. What was I expecting from everyone? Raul couldn't help but sigh, wondering what he was expecting from everyone. Back then, I struggled too because of them in my previous life when Hyan attacked the Empire's military camp in the city of origin after 6 months of playing the game as per market demand. When the top players were almost able to reach the maximum level, an additional 10 of the most talented players had switched classes twice, forming an army of conquerors with hundreds of guild alliances. They seized the fortress, but when the demon cavalry suddenly appeared, most players lost their lives, including some high-level hunters, among them Hyan. Luckily, I managed to escape just in time. No one could get close to the Empire's military camp 6 months later. That demon cavalry was a fully evolved creature with an average level nearly 50, so naturally any player who had just reached level 50 would struggle to fight it. And what about now? This monster hasn't fully evolved and is at a lower level than my teammates, who are also high-level knights with some even reaching level 80. More importantly, Raul noticed the blue spots on the monster's body. I can see the weak points on their bodies, so all I have to do is stab those critical spots. Thanks to that, after a while, Raul and his teammates successfully wiped out all the monsters. Why were the demon cavalry in a place like the forward base of the kingdom, I wonder? "What should we do now, sir? I think going inside would be very risky," Philip said cautiously. Raul firmly replied, "We have to go in." "We can't retreat now," PS suggested. "If that's the case, we should at least call for reinforcements. The longer we stay here, the more dangerous it becomes before they get to the people outside. We have to eliminate all of them, so you should hide behind, leave the enemies to us, and you and Pierce focus on searching," Philip proposed. Then he and Jack headed straight down to the basement. Raul didn't give a chance to refuse. It's a pity, but now is not the time to be greedy for experience. If I don't kill them myself, I still get a share of the experience points. This is an opportunity for others to carry me. They also need to level up, and having trustworthy subordinates like this is great. In the future, I will rely on them a lot, Raul thought. We should eliminate them in the bud, Jack said, but after looking into the room at the end of the tunnel, he fell silent. A laboratory with about 10 tanks nurturing dark cavalry, mutated human corpses, and severed body parts scattered across the floor. Anyone who sees it would shudder. They really dare to research and create chimera monsters in the territory of the kingdom. The demon knights we just encountered must be the people they kidnapped and experimented on. I didn't expect them to be this insane, Pierce said angrily. Raul looked at the monster's body on the operating table, feeling a bit contemplative. In my previous life, I had seen these scenes many times, but I was still angry. In fact, when reincarnating, I thought about joining their forces because in 15 years they would hold supreme power over this continent, but their king, their leader, is a madman. Becoming his subordinate is no different from walking into death. There are many rumors about the king, but one thing I can be sure of is that he doesn't consider others as human. Those who do not carry royal blood are divided into classes based on their worth. They endure a lifetime of exploitation, and when they become useless, they turn into guinea pigs or become food for the demon cavalry. And of course, even if they belong to the upper class, if they dare to oppose the king's will, they will be executed. There was once a general who complained about the king's arrogance, and while he was speaking, the tattoo on his shoulder glowed red, then he exploded and died on the spot. I still remember it vividly because I was right there. Following someone like that, I had no chance of survival, and I couldn't just stand by and watch innocent people become test subjects while Raul fell into deep thought. Then Philip's call pulled him back to reality. He came over to see Raul, who curiously approached Philip. Another door opened, revealing the main base of the fraudsters. A sorcerer was setting up a magic circle while commanding, "The time has come. We prepare to attack this land. You all get ready. I will also create a teleportation gate to give us a chance to retreat quickly. Use your observation skills and report the situation: 3 knights, 4 sorcerers, and 10 royal demon cavalry." It seems the sorcerers are casting spells in front of the cave. Philip relied on that and immediately planned the action. "Leave the knights to me. You handle the sorcerers, okay, Jack? The demon cavalry targeting the young master is your responsibility, and also cover us from behind," Jack said, pouting. "You want me to clean up the mess behind, don't you?" This remark immediately earned him a cold glare from Philip, and Jack quickly turned away. Not daring to utter the word, PS successfully shot an arrow. This caused one sorcerer to vanish, marking the start of the righteous faction's attack. They were 5th-level sorcerers with extremely powerful magic. We must eliminate them before the barrier. Regular arrows won't work on them. We need to use the mind arrows. Using them to break through the magical defense shield, indeed, thanks to the mind arrow, Raul succeeded. It shattered the sorcerer's magical shields into pieces, and the arrow even pierced through, taking down another sorcerer. Good, now we must prevent them from escaping through the teleportation gate. Instantly, Raul thought, the spell has been broken, and a panicked knight shouted. The leader immediately ordered, "The escape route is blocked. Break the seal and kill them. Create a way out." "Yes, sir! All for the king!" The bandits shouted in unison. Then, like moths to a flame, they charged at Raul. Philip immediately appeared, using his shield to block in front of Raul to protect him. But the force from the bandits' attack left Philip a bit overwhelmed. Seeing Philip's grimace made Raul worry. Philip still didn't have enough strength to face them. How could a high-level knight, one who had surpassed level 90, not be able to contend with them? Thinking of this, Raul immediately used his observation skill to analyze the opponent. Information about the enemy appeared before Raul's status window of MC Duel Level 71 occupation. A mid-level swordsmanship expert belonging to the Granin Empire Royal Hunting Dog, managing the Meera Guild, nickname Crimson Chain. Potential rating B Strength 72, +5 Agility, 71 +5 Stamina, 73 +5. Intelligence 55, Spirit 10, Mental Strength 68 +7 Magic, 68 +7 Perception, 73 +5. Unique trait, Blind Loyalty level B, Fearless level C. Raul stared intently at the tattoo on Duel's neck. His stats have increased. Is that the effect of that red tattoo? What is this? Are they all fighting to the death? Jack shouted in frustration. Then through the private messaging system, he said to Raul, "Sir, can I kill them with my sword? If you keep using that small stick, it will be troublesome." Raul pretended to hold his face in disappointment and replied, "Knight Philip and Pierce are doing great, but this seems a bit tough for you, right, Knight Jack?" This plan was made because I believe in your abilities, but it seems there's no other way. Tough, I only said that because I thought Knight Pierce was having a hard time like you. Indeed, this tactic to provoke the enemy worked like a charm. Jack felt like he had just downed an energy drink. As the bandits lifted Raul's image, he finally let out a sigh of relief and helped his teammates take down the cavalry. Watching Raul take out a cavalryman with just a basic move made Jack question how strange that was. He can spot the monster's weaknesses so easily. I can't believe we're being overwhelmed like this. Who are you? Well thought to himself, making a guess. Since they wielded sickles, they must be from the territory. From the Rando territory, but their swordsmanship seemed quite skilled. Trusting his instincts, he figured they didn't come from the Rando territory. It's all a disguise, a trick. What does a dying person know about that? After saying that, Jack smirked disdainfully. How dare you insult us? We are the hounds of the Empire. Hearing that, Well was furious and then stared at Raul, standing at the end of the line. Is that kid the leader of them? It doesn't matter now. We need to find a way to survive. A plan formed in Well's mind as he smiled wickedly and cast a spell on the cavalry to sacrifice themselves. This life is for His Majesty. For the glory of His Majesty, the cavalry shouted, and then their bodies began to grow larger, causing their armor to no longer fit and crack into pieces. Just as the evolution process was completed, one of them charged at Raul. Jack quickly rushed in to block the attack, but just one punch from the cavalry distorted the shield in Jack's hand, sending him flying. After a long moment, Raul recognized this as a black sacrifice skill where the user sacrifices themselves by burning their life force and mana to gain a tremendous source of power for a short time. If they're using this skill, they must have some kind of scheme. While Raul was thinking, he saw Well sprinting forward. Raul's observation skill immediately began analyzing the opponent, enhancing the Type E skill to level 0.8 CP. Maximum usage time 2 hours. Operating mode consumes mana stones. Defensive skill triple shield. Be careful. They're targeting you, sir. Philip sent a message to Raul and then rushed to confront Well, swinging his sword at him to stop his advance. Unexpectedly, the attack was blocked by a magnetic shield. His armor held it back, so Well easily passed Philip and charged straight at Raul. It's over for you, you bastard, Well said, then unleashed all his strength to punch Raul. But right after that, he had to exclaim in shock, "What is this now? You bastard, are you using a strength-enhancing armor too?" Seeing Raul block his enhanced punch with bare hands made Well start to worry. The power armor with an energy converter looked to be around level E, but the strength it provided was much greater. I have a feeling that if the mana conversion stops and can't transfer into the armor, it will be very dangerous to avoid a long night of dreams. Well once again gathered all his strength to throw a finishing punch at Raul as soon as possible. What was going on? Raul wondered if he should dodge the attack using the C-level blink skill, but suddenly a notification appeared. I can't move anymore. I've encountered an awakened strength-enhancing armor. Evaluating the player's level, Raul has a unique characteristic S, the title of Master Swordsman Intermediate Mind Control. You have satisfied the most basic level to activate enhancement. You don't have enough mana to activate it. Searching for other energy sources has successfully found the Intermediate Mind Control skill. The shape has been fixed by the activated Mind Control enhancement. Throughout the process, Raul's right arm transformed from normal to covered in armor, finally forming a shimmering shield just in time to block Well's attack. So this is the power of the strength-enhancing armor. Raul excitedly watched the shimmering shield blocking Well's frenzied punches, a barrier that could block all physical attacks weaker than the mana strength of the user. The strength-enhancing armor is a defensive skill that can block at least 3 levels of magic. A mysterious core has formed to enhance mana and physical strength for the user. Even if you are at a higher level or have more combat experience, it will be hard to defeat someone with strength-enhancing armor. That is the amazing function of the strength-enhancing armor. It enhances defense and creates a powerful magical shield. However, the strength-enhancing armor is meant for NPCs, so if you're not a citizen of Connect, you won't be able to wear it. Therefore, for players, the strength-enhancing armor has become a dream equipment they cannot obtain. For those NPCs, that's the only way the game publisher creates that item, so they can counter the overwhelming power of the players in battle, and now I'm wearing enhanced armor after awakening my enhancement skill. In contrast to Raul's joy, Duel was furious, wondering why his attack was ineffective. He said this while delivering a powerful blow to Raul's shield. This caused him to be pushed back about 10 meters, and the virtual shield cracked under the pressure. Defending forever isn't a good strategy, so when the shield broke, Raul quickly switched to counterattack. He used telekinesis to grab the sword from a distance and then continuously attacked the weak points of that damn duel, even breaking through his armor's barrier. Is it over? But even so, I won't die alone. Glory to the Empire, do well, shouted his familiar slogan right after. His body gradually merged with the power armor, indicating that this wasn't over yet. Raul stayed alert as he watched do well evolve. At that moment, his system notified him that the enhancement had found a source of forbidden energy, breaking part of the seal and boosting his power. The enhancement would show its true strength for a limited time, and Raul's body radiated a blinding light as he transformed from an ordinary person into a golden robot. Just when the two had completed their transformation, Do Well charged towards Raul. Seeing Do Well's current form, Raul muttered, "That's disgusting." The subordinates of both were also momentarily stunned, turning to see. Do Well was punching towards Raul while Raul raised one hand to brace for the collision. The impact created a massive explosion that blew away those nearby, leaving only a few strong enough to withstand it. The dust settled, and when Do Well saw Raul unharmed, he was very surprised. Taking advantage of this moment, Raul pushed his opponent back, shouting, "Get lost!" He aimed directly at Do Well's weak point and punched to take him down. Immediately, Raul bent down, gasping for breath as the enhanced armor on him began to fade. I did it. Just barely in time with this skill. Suddenly, Raul let out a cry and spat out a mouthful of blood. Philip and Jack, seeing this, rushed over, worried. "Young master, are you okay?" Raul raised his hand to signal that he was fine. In his mind, he thought he had never felt this way before. This feeling, even when he was a player, he had never experienced. It seemed like he briefly glimpsed infinite power. This time, he had borrowed strength from his equipment and enhancement skills. One day, I will definitely achieve this on my own. After dealing with all the enemies, everyone began to clean up the battlefield. Raul held a purple stone in his hand, muttering about the teleportation device and mana stone, to figure out how to use them later. At this moment, PS approached to report, "Sir, we have found Nikki and the other hostages. I have also done my best to arrange for them and return them to their families." PS nodded and said, "Yes, but Nikki's condition isn't very good." Raul ordered seriously, "Hurry up, we need to leave here." Jack, looking reluctant, exclaimed, "Are we really leaving them here?" Raul turned to ask, "What do you want to keep them?" Jack replied, "Of course, some of them are still quite useful. The value of that thing can't be measured in gold," he said. "You're right. The armor that Do Well was wearing earlier, I can't wear it, but it's proof that I've caught a spy in the kingdom. The value of that thing can't be measured in gold," he said. He was right. The armor that Well wore earlier, I couldn't put it on, but it's proof that I caught a spy within the kingdom. Using them for other experiments is no easy task, especially when it comes to royal hunting dogs, but with the king's backing, they become quite dangerous. Even the lesser nobles have to be cautious when facing them. Many players have lost their lives confronting them during various missions, so there's no need to hunt snakes in the grass anymore. It's time to focus on growth and expanding influence. Our power surpasses these dangerous items. We can leave them behind. Thinking this, Raul said, "It's all part of my plan, so let it be." "And I've already taken him out, so no one knows we attacked them," Jack retorted. "But you told us to stay out of it." Raul smiled and said, "Today I will reward you for your hard work. Now go and rest." Hearing this, Jack excitedly exclaimed, "Really, a reward and a break? You better not go back on your word." He watched Jack leave happily. Raul thought to himself, is he foolish or clever? Then Raul spoke to Pierce. "You report now." "We've lured those Rando family scum here just as planned," he replied. "We ensured there were no slip-ups." Hearing this, Raul smiled, filled with anticipation to see what those greedy fools would do. It's not hard to guess. He's just curious about what face they will show. When the royal family discovers this, they'll realize these are just hunting dog items. At that point, they'll face the king's wrath after falling into this trap. Their only path will be death. A little later, a shout from Ramon echoed through the forest. "How far have they gone?" "Hey, you navigator, are we on the right path?" "Just thinking about Raul makes me feel uneasy. Damn it, we've chased him all the way to this forest. And still no sign of him. I had to recover my spirit at the shrine and lost all the money I had brought. We just can't use some skills in the city. Otherwise, how could he stand a chance? My Knight Commander Jeremy has powerful armor. We need to seize the opportunity while he's not here." Suddenly, the navigator pointed to a tunnel and shouted, "Over there!" Standing before the tunnel, Killer spoke up. "It looks dangerous. We have to go inside to find out." "All right, I came all the way to the outskirts to find him, so let's go." With that, Ramon led the way into the tunnel, and soon they arrived at the place Raul had prepared for them. Seeing the treasures scattered on the ground, they happily began to collect them. Little did they know they had fallen into a trap. Ramon chuckled. I don't see him, but this place is nice, right? Jerry also chimed in, magical items, treasures, and even the bodies of some wanted men. Plus, there's this powerful armor. Meanwhile, Raul had returned with his men. When his subordinates saw him, they rushed over to greet him. Young master, you've worked hard. We raided the base in the eastern forest and rescued the hostages, Raul praised. Good job, where are the others? After completing their mission, they returned already. These subordinates were Raul's apprentice knights and some of the first members of the guild. After training, 6 of them had reached master rank. The others were readying to become master knights. Raul's group was reclaiming equipment from the northern and western bases. They could all use mana. And they had all learned swordsmanship from the Aston realm. Now we have over 100 people. So those ordinary folks can't stand against me, Raul thought as he waved his hand and loudly ordered everyone to gather. Let's go! Time is passing. As Raul's group approached the city of Meera, the guards on the city wall had already spotted them. One guard shouted loudly, They're from the Aston territory, but why are there so many A's? Raul led his subordinates along with the hostage into the city. He noticed a large crowd of citizens gathering. He looked at a soldier and asked, Are you the commander here? The soldier replied, Yes, sir, we've brought the citizens here as you requested. Raul nodded. Good job. Is he the only one who saved the hostage? Finally, I get to see my child again. Among the crowd, Nakia silently watched the person Raul was holding in his arms. She wondered if it was her brother. Nakia walked towards Raul, and when she clearly saw the face of the person he was holding, she choked up and cried out, Nikki, Nakia, Nikki is here. Raul smiled and said, I'm returning Nikki, who's unconscious, to Nakia. Nakia trembled as she took Nikki, constantly thanking him. Thank you so much, she's still not well. We'll treat her at the mansion. Saying that, Raul turned to call Bernard. Bernard understood and said, Yes, the priest has arrived at the mansion. Watching Nakia and Nikki follow Bernard, Raul pondered. He had saved those who should have lost their lives. The potions and items she created might not have existed in this world. If something were to happen to her, I still need Nakia for the future of the territory. Everything started to change since I returned to the past. What will history be like? I don't care. I won't hesitate if I have to take something away or change someone's future. I'm no longer a good person today. If I had acted faster, I could have saved more people, but instead of focusing on saving lives, I ignored them and chose to complete my mission. Then I drew Nakia's attention. Still, I managed to complete the mission as best as I could and saved as many people as possible. Raul then looked at the citizens and thought to himself, seeing the joy of the people as they reunited with their loved ones, I felt a bit relieved. The city is now safe. The mayor will visit with gifts when the sun rises, but I still feel guilty. Among the crowd, an old woman clutched a pair of gloves, crying, my son will never come back. Witnessing this, Raul thought about how the lower-class people couldn't live well. Many didn't even have the chance to think about the future. Reflecting on my actions, it was all for the mission and leveling up. That was my priority. I had never spoken to those unrelated to the mission. I had told myself to live in the present after being revived. Yet I still played with the thought that this was a game, not the reality I was living, tied to the system, and nothing bad had happened yet. But is it right to just follow the missions the system assigns? Even now, I still plan steps from the perspective of a player, but has it ever limited my vision and choices? If I can't find something, only Raul, a noble in Connect can do things that players cannot. I might repeat my past mistakes. Raul looked towards Philip and spoke, Philip, do you see those gloomy-faced citizens over there? I'm sorry, but can you check their personal information and circumstances and report back to me? Philip asked suspiciously, all of them. Raul nodded, yes, and provide assistance to those who have lost family or have missing relatives, some funds to comfort them and help them find jobs. In his heart, he felt a bit guilty, thinking, oh dear, he came to fight after all. Giving him more work, I feel so guilty. Even though he was tired, Philip still smiled and said, I didn't expect that. I thought you would only do what benefits yourself. The others wouldn't refuse, so don't worry. Philip glanced at Jack with a smirk. There's always someone who will refuse. Jack was fuming, his head ready to explode. What are you looking at? I don't hate doing good deeds. He leaned closer to Raul and quietly asked, but you're still giving me a few days off, right? Raul, helpless, just shot Jack a glance without responding. His subordinates began to follow Raul's orders, distributing bags to the people who were immensely grateful for this act. They held the aid bags in their hands, cheering for Raul. "Long live Count Aston! Long live young Master Raul!" Raul turned his horse around, smiling at the people, thinking to himself, "Providing aid to the people of Meera will be a huge advantage when facing other guilds in the future." Although it had all been calculated. But seeing them so happy is truly hitting 2 targets with 1 arrow. Staying here longer to level up and gain real combat experience was indeed the right choice. By the time Raul led his subordinates away, he didn't know that among the crowd there was an old man wearing a headscarf quietly watching them, smiling. The next morning in the building, Mayor Ronaldo sat across from Raul, laughing as he spoke. "I've troubled you a lot." "I'm very grateful, sir," Raul humbly replied. "Without me, you could have handled everything just fine. I couldn't sleep well upon hearing that Meera was targeted by that dark empire. If it weren't for the warning, we would have been in big trouble." Raul lifted his teacup. "I was quite surprised, too. Who would have thought that the forces of that dark empire would block all roads to Meera, a land clearly under the sovereignty of the Reuben Kingdom? Considering their stealthy movements, it seems they have been secretly operating for quite some time and have trained some incredibly strong demon soldiers." Fernando bowed his head and sighed. "Actually, this isn't the first time such disappearances have happened. But we can't restrain them due to the treaty. According to the treaty, Meera can only have guards and cannot organize an army or even have patrols. We can't even deploy half of our forces outside the city." After explaining, Ronaldo looked at Raul and announced, "Oh right, speaking of which, someone from the territory of the Marquis Ronaldo has arrived. As you said, they claim to have destroyed the hideout of the spy and are demanding a large compensation. If that's not your request, we will send them away." Just as expected, but as I mentioned before this matter, before Raul could finish, Ronaldo interjected, "Yes, we should let the Marquis Rando handle that. But don't you think it's quite disadvantageous? You won't just gain great fame, but you might also receive rewards from the Emperor." Raul chuckled and said, "Thank you for your concern, but just do as I requested." Fernando reluctantly spoke up, "You're being overly cautious. At your age, it's no laughing matter. Anyway, I'll make sure to handle this well." Raul pondered managing the Imperial Army's shelter would be part of the damn Rando's actions. They would attract the Empire's attention at this time. Rando spoke up. "I still don't know what to reward you with. I think money won't be enough. Do you want something? I'll bring it to you." He finally voiced what he needed, quietly saying Raul made a request. "Then I would like to request a special privilege. I heard that your mansion has a very diverse library. If possible, may I go in and take a look?" Ronaldo thought for a moment and said, "Oh, that library. No problem, but you should see what you want to read. If you wish, you can take the books with you, but that seems a bit inappropriate, so I will also show you another secret treasure. You can also choose something from there as a gift." Raul spoke up. "Thank you, then. I appreciate your generosity, just as the rumors say." Hearing that, Ronaldo cheerfully replied, "Is that so? I can be generous when needed. But some people still say I'm stingy. Their eyesight must not be very good." Raul thought to himself, "Anyway, I have to reward myself. Why is he bragging?" After that, following Ronaldo's orders, the servant led Raul to the place he requested. "Then I'll take you here. Please feel free to take a look. Is this the place in your mind?" Raul walked towards the bookshelves, pulling out a book that opened a notification system collecting B-rank skill books on meditation. It looked like a messy pile of books, but in reality it was a magical treasure because this was a library filled with skill books. Just thinking about all the books here being skill books was overwhelming. Just looking at it was already dizzying. I might not have another chance to come here, so I need to carefully find the books I need, he thought. Raul quickly started moving back and forth between the bookshelves, searching for something useful. Suddenly, he noticed a glowing book and decided to take it down. The notification system read, "Research on ancient rituals, spells, and teaching methods for cultivating and enhancing spiritual power." The title was too long, but the book seemed to complain a bit. Raul opened the book and read the content, Meditation Technique SSS-Rank, limited to those who can effectively use spiritual abilities with 24-hour automatic meditation. It had the ability to train the spirit, describing the art of meditation used by ancient spirits for cultivating spiritual strength even in daily life. A person could refine their soul by communicating with nature and practicing in the spiritual space existing in a slight threshold that meditating near a tree would increase effectiveness. Raul thought happily, "Finally, I can reach the S-rank meditation technique. In my past life, just with a B-rank meditation technique, Hyun was able to rise to the top very early, But later I was pushed down because my spiritual power was no longer sufficient while I was searching for a meditation technique. It was better when the path to collecting skill books was blocked by major guilds and high-ranking players. Basically, skill books related to superpowers were all ranked. Best and related information was also extremely limited. Not long after information about the Quakes meditation technique was leaked by a high-ranking player using fire magic in Japan. Sakata Shigeshiba, every starting city market is storing an S-rank skill, and among them, the superpower he obtained was in the Meera library. In fact, in my past life, I also obtained an S-rank skill book in a starting city, but it was purely a magic skill book. So it was completely useless to me, but now it's different. With the automatic accumulation effect of the meditation technique, I won't run out of spiritual energy anymore. Above all, the initial spiritual ability might not be very strong, but when leveled up, both strength and quantity increase significantly if provided with enough spiritual energy. It will be much easier to enhance my abilities. If I can recover to the level I had before the total war with the Empire began, I will truly be able to turn the tide. I really look forward to that day. Not long after, Raul left the library and went to the secret treasure room. Raul looked at the new ring he wore on his hand and softly said, "I chose a mana suppression ring. In Ronaldo's treasure, there are still many better things at home. Now let's get back to the training that was interrupted. I've completed 70 tasks received in one night, and I've also collected 50,000 coins for players from skill books below level C and rare items." Raul ordered to check the status window. The status of Raul, level 55, has the profession of a knight expert in swordsmanship, a mid-level novice in the Aston domain of the First Guild. Strength 66, Agility 67, Stamina 65, Intelligence 58, Willpower 71, Mana 70, Spiritual Strength 72, Senses 71, Unique Skill Collector's Eye of the Developer. S Master of Mind Control, S Royal Bloodline. My physical stats have all reached 65 a month ago, and both mana and spiritual energy are over 70 now. Now I can train skills. Those extraordinary people called swordsmen or high-level mind users have stats around the threshold of 90. In my past life, my willpower and senses even reached 90. And now I will raise all my stats to 90. If possible, I will strive to be the first player to reach 100. It sounds unrealistic, but I have many opportunities to achieve it now. As I mentioned, Raul looked at the golden item on his wrist, the B-grade energy armor, which has a partially sealed power of 1.5 CP core energy. Operating time is 5 minutes, maximum self-recharging mode defense technique with 6 rounds of mana, field mid-level effectiveness, attribute reduction down to 50%. This describes the simulation of the mythical energy armor. Over time, most functions have been sealed, and some special functions have been transformed. The seal will be lifted when certain conditions are met. Special function condemnation effect. 200% amplification on the target saturation conversion can absorb energy and simulate the function of armor with lower power. One of the 2 items that have been with me since reincarnation, my skill catalog, has also been unlocked from the quests, and I can activate the energy armor enhancement. As for the skill catalog, I can accept quests to unlock further. I need to complete 50 quests related to random skill positions, but there are no clues about armor enhancement. It might be too difficult to handle the current output, and one more thing, I've just unlocked a new unique skill. Raul glanced at a unique skill. Developer's Eye of Analysis level S effectively borrows the developer's vision to steal information related to the system, facilitating the analysis of energy flows. The flow of special energies. Raul speculated this might be the reason I can observe NPC information and mana flow all the time. It's just a hypothesis. But I'm sure I have received that skill. When defeating the Empire's ghost hunting dogs, I will know when I see this quest appear right after unlocking the unique feature of the Dark Energy main quest. Collect the pieces of Dark Magic Stone 1 out of 5. The description of the side quest is not unlocked yet. Please wait for the next update, Raul thought to himself. Usually it would appear around the time of leaving the starting city, but it seems like a glitch due to attacking the Empire's base too early. If I continue following my past life, I will have to keep defeating the Empire to collect the Dark Magic Stone pieces. I was following the storyline to find the stone under their interference, but now it's no longer necessary. Because I am both a player and a local resident, choosing which scenario or quest is up to me. I am no longer a puppet moving according to the developer's will. If they decide the outcome to match what I want, then I will do what I want, even if it means destroying the storyline or quests. The next day, Bernard came to find Raul reporting, "Young Master. Are you in there? Nikki has woken up and Miss Nakia wants to see you. What do you think?" Of course we should meet her, saying that Raul and Bernard went to Nakia's place. Upon seeing Nakia, Raul immediately asked about her sister. How is she? The servant spoke up, greeting the young master. You've arrived. Young master, Nakia exclaimed in surprise, kneeling before Raul. Thank you so much, I don't know how to express my gratitude. Raul helped Nakia up and replied, no need for that. Before that, Nikki hadn't recovered yet, so she needed to be stronger. Raul turned to check on Nikki's condition, and when Nikki saw Raul looking at her, she spoke up. Thank you for saving me, Nikki said, not saying anything more. Nakia quickly explained, please forgive her, she's quite embarrassed. It's okay, she's still just a kid. Raul smiled in response. The poor girl still hasn't recovered. Should I check her condition more thoroughly? While he was pondering, Raul suddenly noticed something in Nikki's eyes as if they were hiding great waves. What is that? What's going on? Is no one noticing? My eyes must be playing tricks on me. I need to analyze this again. Raul decided silently, using his skill to observe Nikki once more. This time, Raul's expression completely changed. He exclaimed in disbelief, no way. I thought she was just a child. The information board displayed new updates. Name Nikki, age 13, level 5. Occupation none, city, free city. Meera talent, potential index, SS strength 5, agility 3, stamina 3, intelligence 60, 30, willpower 65, 25 mana 62, 61, perception 52, 45. He was stunned reading the potential information. SS potential? The illness has reduced her stats, but what if I can treat her and help her regain her abilities? Do-hyun pondered, unable to imagine how much she would grow. Nakia turned back confused and asked, what's going on? He hesitated. It's nothing, Do-hyun reassured himself, looking at the girl lying there in a daze. He thought about examining Nikki more closely. Time flew by, and a few days later, Do-hyun was on the phone gathering necessary information. I've got enough now. On the table were several photos. He hoped everything with Meera was settled smoothly. News had spread that they had discovered several more fraudsters and slave traders. They rescued over 50 people. Now Meera was the safest place. The guild headquarters had been completed. Some members were now living there. Many rescued civilians were ready to work for them, and they had plenty of talented workers, so he felt reassured. Do-hyun glanced at the newcomer. The rest is about Nakia. Politely greeting, he said, excuse me, I'd like to observe her. From the moment the newcomer entered, Do-hyun's first concern was Nikki. How is she? She's doing better, the report said. Thanks to the hard work of the pastors, and thank you too. He felt relieved, lifting his teacup to drink, casually complimenting, that's great. Do-hyun understood even though he said that. But Nikki's condition still hadn't improved much. From the beginning, the holy power had no effect on her. Let's get to the point. I called you here because I wanted to discuss something, Nakia interrupted. I understand. I heard you would be leaving today. Is that right? I haven't had the chance to thank you properly yet. Do-hyun admitted, I've stayed too long. There are still many things left unfinished. She proactively offered, if there's anything I can help with, please let me know. Deep down, she understood there must be a reason for this. He has helped me and Nikki so much. While I'm grateful for the help, the nobles I've encountered before have all been ambitious, some even with hidden agendas. I'm worried he might be the same. I don't want to disappoint him. Do-hyun's voice cut through her wandering thoughts. It's not like what you're thinking. Here, take a look at this first. Nakia took it with curiosity, her eyes wide with astonishment as she realized that inside the paper was a letter forgiving all the mistakes she had made in the past, and it freed her. The papers fluttered from her hands as Nakia gasped. I'm sorry, but this is real. How is this possible? Hyun said calmly, just lucky, I guess. This was something that could easily be settled with money. She thought that letter was a release from all Nakia's past mistakes. Although it cost quite a bit for the Alliance to arrange this compared to her worth, it was nothing. Nakia bit her lip, trying to hold back the overwhelming emotions. I've suffered for 5 years because of my limited mana, thinking I would never overcome it. But he resolved it so easily. It's foolish to compare him to other nobles. I've been so arrogant, Hyun mentioned about Nakia. If you're comfortable, could you tell me how you were limited in Manhwa? Tears streamed down her face as she slowly recounted, since I was a child, I left my hometown. An alchemist saw the talent in me and helped me join the Alchemist Association. I became famous as a young prodigy, mastering 3rd-level magic by the age of 13. But then misfortune struck, a plague broke out in my hometown, and I lost my entire family. When I arrived, only Nikki was left. I brought her back to the association to live together, but misfortune didn't stop there. When Nikki turned 6, she fell ill with a terminal disease, likely because of me. Surrounded by toxins, I spent 2 years trying to find a cure. During that time, I was able to use 5th-level magic by the time I turned 18, but it meant nothing. When Nikki was about to die, I couldn't think about the consequences and broke the taboo of not using alchemy on humans. I used materials I had stolen from the association to keep her alive. But even so, Nikki couldn't wake up, and I was discovered violating the rules and expelled from the association with a curse that restricted my mana before coming here. We had been wandering for a long time. This city, though safe and blessed by the gods, was helpful for Nikki's condition, but people didn't look kindly on the curse. With limited mana and a sick sister, Hyan understood. It seems you've been through a lot. He handed her a vial. Drink this. It will set you free. Nakia, tears streaming down her face, looked at the vial Hyan handed her, slowly reaching out to accept the gift, then without hesitation drank it all. Energy burst around Nakia's body. She closed her eyes, feeling this comfort for the first time in 5 years. I miss this so much. The system updated her status, name Nakia, age 23, level 68, profession, Intermediate Alchemist Organization. Free City, Meera, potential S-Rank, Strength 43, Agility 48, Stamina 55, Intelligence 80, Wisdom 77, Mana 78, Perception 81, Proficiency Alchemy SS Precision Adjustment. A extraordinary genius. Slowly, Nakia opened her eyes. After feeling the energy in her body stabilize, it was time. She clearly understood what he wanted from her now. Nakia swore, I, Nakia, vow to be loyal to you, Raul. I look forward to seeing you save countless others as you have done for me and Nikki. His hand slowly reached out to her. The warmth of his palm gently brushed her hair. I accept your loyalty and will not forget your words. Next, Do-hyun picked up a stack of documents from the table and handed it to her. Take this too. I accept your loyalty and will not forget your words. Then Do-hyun picked up a stack of documents from the table and handed it to her. Take this with you. Nakia hesitated, revealing that Do-hyun had hinted it would help cure Nikki, a mana larva left behind by a great alchemist of the past. But it was missing a part. Nakia needed to use it to find the perfect treatment. This is my first command as your master, Nakia. With tears streaming down her face, she vowed to create the best possible treatment. Her heart was more resolute. She had made her decision. For the rest of her life, she would live for him. After finishing her task, Nakia left the room and Do-hyun sat down to rest, thinking that talking and behaving this way still felt a bit forced. But she had to get used to it. After all, this was where she would live, and everyone she met would be her subjects. Today was a great success. She had already recruited a member. And she was an alchemist who would leave her mark in history. He had a strong belief in Nakia. She would surely find a cure. Because the great alchemist of the past was actually her in a previous life, Nakia had also discovered the incurable disease, the mana larva, after a long period of research. Finally, she found a way to cure it, but in the process, she had sacrificed countless people in her experiments. Now it was no longer necessary. Fortunately, the data on Nakia's treatment method was still here. I only provided the incomplete version, so she could develop it. Hopefully, she wouldn't feel pressured. If she couldn't finish it in time, I could provide the remaining data. Meera's task would be considered done. Now I have to prepare for the next target. The next destination is the capital of the Ruben Kingdom, also known as the Tomb City of Turium. I can't wait to see what will happen in that vast city. Do-hyun was excited for the next journey. Let's go. Do-hyun arrived at a castle, their destination, with the horse-drawn carriage behind them, announcing that they had arrived. Look at all those people over there. The capital truly is different. You're admiring the castle in front of you, the capital of the Ruben Kingdom, Turium. Do-hyun reminded them that since they were part of the Count's family, they didn't need to wait in line to enter. Come on, subordinates, follow orders. Think about your plan. I had left some members of the guild with Meera and only brought a minimal number of people. That would make it easier for us, but suddenly Do-hyun paused, staring ahead, suspicious that there were no carriages or escorts. Do-hyun turned to ask Bernard, "Did you send the message that we would arrive?" He replied, "I'm sure I sent it. There must have been a mistake somewhere. I'll go to the mansion first and bring people here. You asked further, do you know where the mansion is? We can just go together." Bernard asked a passerby if they knew where the Aston family mansion was. She was startled. "The Aston family, I don't know." And he continued to ask others, receiving the answer that the Aston family was that warrior family, right? "Is there an Aston mansion in Turium? Why don't you try looking in the noble district? When I asked the guards, they didn't know either. Sorry, but I've never heard of the Count's family mansion. Which Aston in the noble district you can't get in? Hyun thought to himself that he didn't expect his family to be famous, but this was truly unexpected. Jack was furious. Soldiers are sacrificing their lives to stop the monsters in the Aston territory, and you're asking where Aston is. You don't even know who's keeping the peace. You think the people don't know about our family? That's understandable. We're far away and Dad rarely comes to the capital, but still, how is it that no one knows about the existence of the mansion? I heard there's a huge mansion here for dealings with nobles and royalty. This is quite inconvenient, Hyun admitted. But Bernard? Can you go to the 7th office and find the address? Bernard took the initiative. Just leave it to me. When he saw the paper with the address, he was surprised. Are you sure this is the right document? I'm pretty sure this address belongs to Baron Jenna. Hyun was surprised. Isn't Baron Jenda the Count of Aston? He confirmed, yes, Baron Jenda has lived there for over 15 years. For now, we can go there. You glanced at Bernard and he read the information. Baron Renda, 50 years old. He's a distant cousin of yours and he handles diplomatic affairs. Hyun continued. I understand, let's head to the mansion. I want to see it with my own eyes. When their group stopped at a mansion, someone exclaimed, Who are you? Philip announced, the youngest son of Count Aston. Where's Mr. Raul, the diplomatic officer? The guards asked sternly, Do you have an invitation, Count Aston? He was surprised. Invitation? What invitation? The guards were shocked. You're attending a party without an invitation. The guards pointed to one side. Please wait behind there. I'll be back shortly. Hyun was suspicious about what he heard. A party? Jack was so angry he was shaking. What? As he was about to rush in, the guards blocked him. Jack didn't care and grabbed one of them. What the hell is going on here? Are you saying the master is waiting outside? We don't need to care about who Baron Jenda is. Call him out here. The guards blew the alarm, shouting, Intruder, intruder! Their spears clattered to the ground as Rep was restraining one of them while the others panicked and ran into the mansion. He was confused. What just happened? Are they running away? Do-hyun ordered, let's go inside. Someone in the back stopped him. Stop right there, Jackson shouted. You're not allowed to enter this place. Who are you? He announced Philip from the Knight Brigade of the Aston family. Where's Baron Renda? The guy asked in surprise. Why are you intruders looking for the Baron? Wait, Jack realized. Wait a minute, the Aston family. The guy bowed along with the guards. I'm sorry I heard you were coming here, but the news arrived late. I'll inform the Baron immediately. A command rang out. What are you doing? Take them to the guest reception room right away. The guy obeyed. Hyun was surprised. What's happening here? This place is indeed as big as the rumors say. Even by carriage, it would take a long time to go around here. You stood there stunned, wondering if that was really the building. Only those of the direct lineage of the Aston family could use it. So why was I hearing music coming from that building? And there were strange people loitering in the front yard. Jack was curious, wondering if there was an event today. Someone said there was a soldiers' party. Surprised you didn't know. Today is the birthday party of Aaron III, son of Baron Jenda. They hold parties here quite often, so we were a bit vague. He was shocked, wasn't he? Whose party is it? A calm voice rang out. Finally, you've arrived. That person stepped forward to chat. Let me see. Jenda greeted you. It's Raul, right? You've grown up a lot. Do-hyun was on guard, assessing the opponent's strength. He looked strong, but the information board displayed Baron Jenda level 50. You had your answer level 50, not even a master. I understand why other families look down on Aston now. I get why father let this guy handle diplomacy, but I can't stand that he looks down on me too. Do-hyun spoke up. Do you know me? Jenda replied, It's been a while, so you might have forgotten. You can think of me as your uncle. My father and you are as close as brothers. You bluntly said I've never heard of anyone with that name. He's my uncle, he explained casually. Smart, huh? You might find it confusing. The Aston family tree is a bit complicated. Just call me uncle. Do-hyun thought to himself, he must think I'm stupid. I won't let him take advantage of me. You reminded him of this burn. Explain again, what does this guy have to do with me? He held a notebook in his hand. Yes, sir. Baron Jenda is a second cousin of the Earl Aston. He is your third cousin and is handling diplomatic duties in the capital. He was speechless. Jenda turned to criticize you. What are you doing in front of adults? Didn't your father teach you to respect your elders? Do-hyun looked angry. This Baron Jenda, you must be quite familiar with my father, huh? Or are you not afraid of the Aston family, Philip, except for the direct descendants of the family? How many people can speak to me without respect? You replied. Only Lord Austin, the Earl's brother. You continued, and why is that? Philip respectfully expressed clear reverence for the Earl Aston and established the hierarchy. When a child of the Earl comes of age, they inherit the title. The title and a piece of land. He also inherited land with a population of 10,000. Do-hyun coldly asked, "Now tell me, what reason do I have to be looked down upon by a cousin I've never met? I've never even met him." Jenda lowered his head. "It's my fault. I forgot that you, Raul, have grown up." "Of course I will show my respect. Are you satisfied, Raul? You didn't mind either way. I think you have a lot to explain. Why don't you try explaining what's going on here?" He pretended not to know. "I'm not sure what you're talking about. Philip exposed him, don't you know?" "Don't. Why is there no one escorting us? We sent many messages saying we were coming." Jenda had his reasons. "I told them to send the carriage. But there must be a mistake somewhere. Today there are so many guests. I apologize, Mr. Raul, for Hyan changing the question. So let me ask you one more thing. Why are you hosting the party for your son in the main building?" He arrogantly said, "Philip, this might be your first time in the capital, so you don't know we have to throw a big party to show them who we are. This is all part of diplomacy, so don't worry. What do soldiers know about nobility anyway?" Philip, feeling frustrated, thought he would just let it go for now. The young master is here too, and someone interrupted. "Mr. Raul, here is the invitation I found outside. Hyan picked it up to show him. Baron Jenda, this party seems to have nothing to do with the Count's house. Aston, even in this letter, I only see the name and the coat of arms of the Jenda family." He looked pale with fear, but still tried to cover it up, saying it was just an invitation. This is definitely an official party of the Aston family. Even the location states it's the Jenda mansion, but the party is being held in the main building of the Count Aston's house. I already told you. It's just an invitation, and I don't want to argue about the party anymore. Even if you are the young master, this matter is beyond your authority. If you want to argue, you can go home and do that," you really replied. "Really, you think this party is justified?" Jenda confirmed, of course. "Leaving the mansion empty using the banquet hall is a long-standing tradition. You know that, right?" Hyan thought he was not wrong. It's common for other nobles to borrow the mansion, but that's only when he has permission from the Count Aston himself. "You declare as the temporary representative of the Count. I order you to cancel this party within an hour and report the detailed expenses incurred for the party." Jenda was furious, pointing directly at you and scolding, "This is ridiculous. You are being unreasonable. I can't just tell them to go back. Who would authorize this kid?" Hyan realized his father knew something like this would happen. "You don't question him. Don't you hear the order? The tip of the sword is pointed at the opponent. Why aren't you worried about your family? I don't think I should be concerned about any guests. Giving you an hour is already generous. Should I go to the banquet hall myself and inform them?" Jenda had to comply. "Fine, I will stop the party. You will regret this." Hyan wasn't too worried. It would just be his father scolding him a bit. I wonder where he gets the confidence to do these things. There is no concrete evidence of the downfall of the Aston family. Perhaps I will find something about this here. Who knows, maybe I will hit the jackpot. Hyan stared at the scene before him and had to exclaim, "Oh my God!" He was surprised that the place they escorted him to was not the main building. "It's the annex building, right?" A servant approached from behind and said, "The Baron mentioned that the main building is too crowded, so he wants us to prepare a quiet place for him." Do-hyun silently cursed. "Nonsense." He urged the horse to run towards the mansion. "I don't want to hear it. I'll go to the main building." The main building of the mansion appeared before him. Do-hyun flung the door open and asked if everything was normal. He knew that in the 3-story main building the office was reserved only for the Earl's family, yet the Baron's entire family lived there. As soon as Do-hyun entered, he directly asked, "How do you plan to explain this?" "Baron Jenna, does the Earl's family have a tradition that allows ministers and their families to occupy the Earl's office? We're just borrowing it for a moment." Jenda shrugged. "You might not even come here once a year. Leaving it empty like this would be such a waste." This obviously angered him. "Get out now. If you don't clean up the mansion today, I'll have your heads immediately, even if you're close relatives." Do-hyun's next words made his face turn pale. "From now on, I will strip you of your title as Baron and your position in the foreign ministry." You coldly demanded, "If you want to object, bring the documents tomorrow, to show that you have fulfilled your duties with your current position." Jenda gritted his teeth in anger upon hearing these words. He turned and left in frustration, unable to do anything else. Do-hyun stood on the upper floor, watching Jenda's back leave below, thinking to himself that he was still in the preparation phase. He told himself he needed to seek additional resources. He worried it might have been discarded due to the mansion's condition, but fortunately it was still here. Do-hyun glanced back at the filing cabinet behind him. All the documents related to the mansion's management and finances were left behind in the office. They must have been very complacent. and thought that nothing significant would happen after one night, right? But Do-hyun was very confident because he had professional support. In his previous life, he had studied management, business, and working for a trading company. Speaking of issues related to the mansion, Bernard was the expert. Philip entered from outside and called young master. The Baron and his family have already left. Do-hyun inquired about the situation. Really? Did they leave peacefully? He reported back, I'm a bit surprised they only took the essentials. Do-hyun thought differently, not realizing that the monkey's intentions were already clear. They would come back anyway. So there's no need to clean up their mess. This thought made Philip worried. Is that okay? Isn't it better to give them time to sort things out? You already have a plan to cut off the rotten parts. The sooner the better. But wouldn't it be more effective to catch him when he underestimates us? Deep down, I think it's beautiful. I have to use this place as my first guild branch until I find a suitable location in the capital. In the future, this will be my home, so I can't let those bastards run rampant here. Pierce beside him voiced his suspicion that it seemed like the Baron had someone backing him. Something strange must be going on. Do-hyun didn't care and reassured him, saying not to worry. His schemes don't matter. The two of you should trust your country a bit more. Jack from behind hugged the two of them and asked what they were worried about. Stop talking about that and just enjoy the mansion tour. We just need to do what the young master says. Right, the young master Do-hyun agrees with that. Tomorrow there will be some tasks that require strength, so you guys should rest now. Except for Bernard, everyone else can take a break. Philip, come on, let's go now. You looked up at the bookshelf and asked Bernard next to you if you knew what you were supposed to find. He confirmed, yes, young master, this is my specialty. Do-hyun urged, we don't have much time left, so let's get started. The next day, the clanging of swords echoed as Do-hyun commanded the swords again. Two swords rushed forward while the other two suddenly trembled. Bernard conceded as the two swords fell to the ground. Do-hyun praised him. This time you've improved a lot, huh? I never thought you could control two swords like this. He forced a smile. I still have a lot to practice. As he looked at the sword in his hand, thinking that he had awakened his abilities with the skill book for a month and a half now. I never expected he would be this skilled. He's not just an ordinary talented person. A wind mage doesn't easily control weapons with such precision. At this level, he could reach intermediate level in about 6 months and become a rare, multi-talented mage. After that, he ordered, let's practice martial arts more. I already told you that. Just using one ability to show strength is tough. Increasing proficiency by combining multiple skills from the start will be easier and more effective. Are you ready? Bernard naturally agreed. Yes, I'm ready. He sensed movement behind him and became alert. It seemed we had a guest. Do-hyun looked out and confirmed it was indeed a wind mage. I can't keep up with such distant sensing abilities. You seem interested, let's go. As the host, you have to welcome guests properly. Bernard acknowledged the order. Got it, I'll bring what we prepared yesterday. You confirmed, yeah, bring everything. Do-hyun smirked to himself. After what happened yesterday, I deserve a reward. Bernard was praying when the young master wore that expression. Something is bound to happen. I hope he doesn't do anything reckless. The Baron at the estate gate had many people waiting. Jack cautiously asked, so did you bury a treasure or something? Even he wasn't sure. I don't understand why so many people are gathered here. His gaze swept over a few people. They thought to themselves that among the escort knights there were several who exuded a frightening aura, and there were also soldiers outside the estate. Jack glanced at Do-hyun, wondering. No matter how you look at it, this is something our side can't handle alone. Did the young master already have a plan? The old man, Jenda, seemed very confident, thinking everything was going smoothly. That young master had taken the bait. He had already predetermined the outcome. Once he left, everything would be settled. By doing this, he would also gain a position. Jenda noticed the people around the relatives of the Aston family living in the capital were gathered here surely because of what happened last night. If I do this, I will also gain a position of importance. I need to pay attention to those around them. The Aston family members living in the capital are gathering here for sure because of what happened last night. Jenda stood outside the battlefield quietly, thinking that being ousted from the position of foreign minister and kicked out of the mansion wasn't just his problem, as his relatives in the capital had also hosted banquets in the hall. The mansion, funded by the Count's territory, even had its management costs lining their pockets, so there was no profit to be made. Those who had their wallets stolen overnight remained silent, and it was also his fault for hosting the banquet under his name and using the office. But they didn't know about that. He probably only knows how to behave like a noble. He's just a fool who doesn't realize what he's getting into. He's quite pleased with himself, isn't he? I don't understand why you entrusted the seal to your son, but I will use it effectively since Do-hyun has stepped into this crowded gathering. Whispers filled the air. Are these the beautiful faces of our relatives? But blood ties can't deceive. I heard he's only 15 years old and already stands 1.8 meters tall. That's the jerk who bothered Baron Jenna, right? Someone couldn't help but ask if he really won the swordsmanship competition. Do-hyun confidently stepped up, declaring he never expected to stand in front of so many people. Everyone gathered here because of Baron Jenda, right? Jenda arrogantly pointed at him, saying, our relatives are very angry about your unreasonable actions. So we gathered here. Now how do you plan to apologize and fix this mess? Do-hyun retorted, meaning Baron Jenda represents everyone standing here. Right as I promised, I will try to resolve what is right and wrong. Jenda did not back down and continued to provoke. It's quite amusing, your sense of right and wrong. This mansion has been managed by relatives living in the capital for centuries. This isn't a playground. A clueless brat from the main family can't just toy around. Everyone quickly got agitated and shouted, exactly. Is the main family looking down on us? The Count has gone too far with this. I can't believe he entrusted representation to a child, and on top of that, he even cut the subsidies. What is he doing? He was reveling in their support, while voices of opposition rose even as plans to expand the mansion and improve management were still underfunded. Do-hyun thought to himself that at this point he no longer had time to explain Baron Jenda's actions and why he was dismissed. That wasn't important anymore. He understood that things could get more complicated than he imagined. Do-hyun was analyzing the situation, realizing there were 5 forces gathered here. First were the relatives of the Count's territory who joined without much thought, followed by the royal hunting dogs and the intellect of the Granin Empire. It was no surprise. Clearly, the Empire was behind the conflicts on the continent. He glanced at the 3 people in the distance, but the third faction caught him off guard. The knights from the Delamian clan, one of the 5 great clans of the Brandon Kingdom, provide information about this person. Displaying status window name Graham, 45 years old level. 88 knight professions expert in high-level swordsmanship, affiliated with the Reuben Kingdom Baron Han Republic of Brandon Delamian clan, nicknamed the Red Blade Master, potential psychic index A. Strength 82, agility 72, power 84, intelligence 62, willpower 68, mana 71, senses 76, unique trait tireless body close combat expert B. Do-hyun, curious, has seen the mid-level expert knight Graham, but wonders why a clan much stronger than Aston is gathering here. It's really a hassle. He glanced over at the rest of the group, including those bastards knights from the territory of Baron London, displaying status window name. Raphael, 26 years old, level 61, graduated as a knight expert in swordsmanship. Apprentice affiliated with the territory of Baron Landan, nicknamed the 4th young master of the Landan territory. Potential psychic index B, strength 61, agility 65, power 58, intelligence 61, willpower 53, mana 60, senses 55, unique trait royal lineage B. Agility C, except for you. It's unclear what skills he has, but why is the 4th young master of the Randall clan symbolized by weapons here? Perhaps he's here because of the events in Meera, but even so, he shouldn't act so intimidatingly. Do-hyun's eyes flashed a golden hue, fixated on one side, and finally across from him stood a group of people with grim expressions. They are the betraying clan standing behind all this chaos, and they will be the ones to take control when things go awry. Displaying status window named Titus, 2 years old, level 65, profession knight. Mid-level swordsmanship expert affiliated with the Reuben Kingdom territory of Baron Jaden. Republic of Brandon Jaden clan, potential psychic index of strength 70, agility 64, power 68, intelligence 62, willpower 65, mana 63, senses 58, unique trait royal lineage, a straightforward nature, a fighting spirit B. Do-hyun knows the opponent is the first son of Baron Jaden. His uncle, his cousin Titus Count Do-hyun Count Melvin in Aston, has 2 brothers, Jaden and Austin. Among them, Melvin is the most talented. But being the firstborn, Jaden is expected to become Count Jaden. He is very arrogant and aggressive. Just touching him will get you killed or injured. One day, Melvin became a mid-level master and was supported to become Count over Jaden. Jaden felt jealous and threatened, so he attempted to assassinate Melvin. But then Jaden was caught and stripped of his rights. Time passed and Melvin became Count. He sold his wealth to the rival clan Marquis McNeil and left the kingdom with his entourage. All of this happened 15 years before Aston was born. Du Hyun understands that the son of Baron Jaden is standing here. Then I see the perspective of Baron Jenda. He looked at the angry faces around him. The people here lost nothing from the events 15 years ago, so they hold no grudge against the Baron's family. They probably think they can push me out and take my place, Du Hyun recalls from his memories. In his previous life, the Aston territory was divided into many factions and collapsed. Perhaps they made the right choice, he knows well, but only when he is not here. I will make them realize how big of a mistake they made. Then Du Hyun signaled to Philip, who had been waiting for orders beside him. He understood everything. It was time to act. He struck the shield in his hand hard, startling them. Du Hyun declared, "I've heard enough from you. I also want to say a few words." Bernard passed it to them. The remaining people were confused as they looked down at the documents Bernard handed out, each of them bewildered picking it up. "What is this?" The person next to him reminded, "Read the title. It's the Financial Management Report of the Aston Count's estate with full evidence investigating the embezzlement and misappropriation by Baron Zenda." They quickly flipped through the notebook. The whole school was silent when a voice filled with astonishment exclaimed, "What?" Jenda was so furious he was shaking. He threw it straight into the ground, claiming it was all fake. The people behind him whispered, looking trustworthy, but that wasn't the case. How could everything be done so quickly from yesterday to today? That's ridiculous. Since Hyun spoke up, let's have a decent conversation. You went straight to the point here. He said there are 200 interns being taught for free here. Where are they? He replied that they gave up and ran away with the equipment. Hyun continued, "All 200 of them. Are you saying they all came from different places? It's strange that you chose interns from outside the capital, even though the purpose of these free classes is to spread your reputation in the capital. They all ran away. And we can choose whoever we want. Let's set this issue aside. There's an address here that will help us find more during the next investigation. You expose everything here." He said he gifted 100 golden swords to other barons, but according to the report, they only received 10 replica swords. He hired 100 C-class mercenaries to guard them. Where are they? Didn't he only have 20 F-class soldiers? Hyun's words left him stiff. Each indictment revealed in the main building was continuously celebrating the birthday of Baron's son and the Baroness's hunting party. What do these things have to do with the budget? Hyun frowned, thinking to himself, reading it again, he was truly astonished. He had to stay up quite late to uncover all of this. He recalled last night when he discovered some documents were fake, so he had to sneak into his house. While Hyun was busy, we found the real ledger. Thanks to my judgment and Pierce's observational skills, Bernard had reorganized it into another notebook, and I copied it into 10 copies, watching the faces of the others turn pale. You all must know by now how much the Baron has embezzled. Hyun spoke up. As you can see, it seems that half of this estate's budget has been embezzled. Is there anyone who opposes expelling Count Jenda? Jenda clapped loudly, praising him. Well done, you've shocked me. How long did it take you to prepare this? A year, 2 years, you're truly wicked, my dear nephew. Hyun glanced at him, assessing what scheme he was planning. Jenda began to play tricks, asking, "Does anyone smell something sinister?" He loudly declared, "I've never seen such a detailed temporary report. 2 or 3 pages would be fine, but this is 30 pages long." Jenda criticized, "You dare say this was done in a day? That's unreasonable. He must have prepared this in advance to try to bring me down and keep the family in check. In the capital, those people go with the wind, that's right. There must be a political conspiracy. Aston is trying to hold on to the money. Some believe that if Baron Jenda is expelled, they will cut the budget of many other families. Some people believe that if Baron Jenda is ousted, they will cut the funding for many other families." He took the opportunity to call his subordinates. "We won't let that happen. Jackson reported that here's our list of demands. If you sign and leave, then we'll overlook today's incident as ordered by Hyun." He stepped up clearly, reading each item carefully to see what it said. The rights to the estate must be transferred to Baron Jenda and other members of the family. The management rights of the estate will be decided by the family members in the capital. The more he spoke, the worse his expression became. He was furious. The swordsmanship reserved for the main line was to be shared widely across the branches of the family. Upon reading this, he exploded with rage. "What the hell is this?" Unable to contain his anger any longer, he shouted, "Are you all insane? You're having a lavish feast with the money we got from killing monsters, and now you want the rights to the swordsmanship too. Go to hell." Someone in front rebutted rudely. "You have no right to speak to us like that. Is the main house really wanting this?" He clenched the paper in his hand, gritting his teeth. "So what?" "I already said. Go to hell. We will never hand this place over to you. This is the most unbelievable thing I've ever heard." These dogs are being humiliated. He pulled out a knife from his chest. How dare you? In Genda's hand was a knife. How dare you insult us? Philip was ready to fight, and Raphael prepared to draw his sword just in case. They had to face a large number of enemies below as Hyun shouted, "Sogek, stop!" He threw the paper down, clearly worried about Genda, who didn't care that he had drawn his knife. "I just drew it to scare him, but—" He looked at Philip's group, who were holding shining swords. Those three were the strongest knights in Kim Hung. He knew he couldn't win. Genda demanded Raul. "He had insulted us. If you don't execute him and apologize, I will assume you are the same. If you don't want bloodshed, then apologize." Hyun sighed. "SR Jack said nothing wrong. Why don't you show your hand?" "Let the curtain fall." Hyun was angry. He didn't think this file would resolve the situation. He thought at least you would feel embarrassed. He drew the sword from his hand. The sharp blade emitted a chilling aura as Hyun lowered the sword to the ground, dust rising thickly. "You must be thicker-skinned than I thought." He calmly said, "You know I will never sign that paper." Seeing this scene, he was frightened. Hyun demanded the other side to speak. "Tell me, what do you really want?" Genda couldn't understand. He heard that the smallest name is the weakest and extremely incompetent. Why, but now I can't turn back. He had to go along with it, shouting, "Don't deceive us anymore. If you don't sign, you can't leave here." The situation was extremely tense. Everyone was highly focused. Genda solemnly reminded, "Think carefully, Raul." Hyun stood calmly amidst the siege. "Is that so?" He stood opposite, and the atmosphere began to wane. He reminded the Baron, "Your actions are declaring war on the Count's family. You know that, right?" The people behind simultaneously criticized Baron Genda. "This isn't part of our agreement. Do you want to declare war on the territory?" "You're crazy, I'm pulling back, let me go." Genda looked down on them, saying, "They're too foolish, it's too late now. We're all in the same boat here. Do you really think the Count will spare us?" Do-hyun, losing his patience, asked if he was done speaking. "What are you planning, Baron?" He replied, "I won't sign anything. Genda, you don't know where my confidence comes from. Raul, you probably still don't understand the situation. Just give the word and hundreds of knights and guards will be aimed at you. Do you think the knights following you can defeat all of us?" The reason he was so confident was that he had a backup plan. He was also prepared with a secret weapon that even Kim Hung the Knight couldn't withstand. Do-hyun wasn't surprised. Just as he guessed, a few were just standing by, so nothing could stop him now. He pointed his sword at the man challenging him. "So what now?" Genda felt something was off. Why was he so confident? He thought having soldiers at his disposal would intimidate him. He was considering that the secret weapon was a last resort. If he used it, it would definitely lead to war. He pulled out an item from his chest. He had to use this. If he was as weak as the rumors said, then it would be even simpler. Genda declared, "You used a fake document to insult me, humiliate me in front of everyone. I will seek justice." He threw the golden lion's head from his hand to the ground. "Raul Dustin, I demand you prove your lineage." Do-hyun was surprised. "Prove lineage, the challenge can only be used once in a lifetime," the people around murmured. "This is the only way to challenge a superior. He's using it here. The opponent is also his grandson. Isn't that coercion?" He spoke up. "Baron Genda, are you serious? Why should I accept your terms?" He was as stubborn as a crab. "Consider this my last mercy. It's better than stripping you of your title." Do-hyun shrugged casually. "So you have the honor of stripping your grandson of his title in a duel." He threatened him to make a decision. "If you refuse, I'll have to use force." Genda smirked, though he tried to appear strong. He knew what the answer was. He rubbed his chin and asked, "What are the conditions?" "I guess you're not the one to fight me. I require 3 people from each side to face off one-on-one. Whoever stands last will win, as this is a challenge to prove lineage. You have to choose 3 people from your clan." Philip, impatient, protested. "How can that be? The Aston clan only has you, Raul." "That's ridiculous." Someone from the opposing side spoke up. "There are people from other clans present here. If they see Raul is right, they will naturally assist. If not, it's not my responsibility. You want to rush into that?" Do-hyun stopped him, asking, "What do you want? If I lose, I'll sign this document." "What about you?" Genda shrugged. "It doesn't matter what you want from me. This is a fair fight, so the stakes must be fair too." He boldly made his demand, "If I win, I will confiscate the assets of all clans that signed this document." "Your side won't accept anything, right?" "How ridiculous," Do-hyun reminded him. "If you don't agree, then no fight. What do you think?" He looked confused, wondering what he was thinking. "Doing this will only make other clans oppose him." "For me, this isn't a bad thing either. If I can't make him sign, then those houses are useless." Jenda accepted. I agree. Do you accept the duel? There's still another way anyway. Anyway, there are still other ways. Do-hyun understands that Philip is right, but he has already decided to confront him. And there's another mission, so I can't back down. The information board displays a surprise mission. Prove your lineage level C duel, victory target, additional target, win the duel alone, describing the clans in the city as increasingly outrageous. Use your skills to take them down. The reward is experience gold. You turned to Philip and asked, "Do you think we'll lose?" He denied it. It's not that, I'm just worried about unexpected variables. The announcement displayed, "Don't worry, if you think there will be a problem, you can intervene." I bet they think the same. Do-hyun understood that this duel was just for show. If they lose, they won't accept the consequences. You declared, "We will accept the challenge. Who will judge? We don't want to go back on our word after you lose." He interrupted, "No need to think too much. I've invited a special guest to Jenda." He turned to Raphael. "Can I ask you to judge?" The guy agreed right away. "I can't refuse." Everyone present was astonished. "Who is that? Isn't he a guard?" He introduced this person. He is a famous figure in the city, known for his swordsmanship, a rising star of the Reuben Kingdom. He is Raphael Randall, the fourth son of the Randall Marquis family. The others were shocked. "The Randall Marquis? Why is the son of the Randall family here?" Jack swore in protest. "Randall, what the hell?" Raphael interjected. "Calm down. I was invited, so I came. I just wanted to greet you, Raul." "I didn't expect such an interesting coincidence." "What I mean is this tragedy happened." Do-hyun spoke up. "Count Randall, I hope you will judge fairly." He smirked. "Of course." Raphael announced in the grand hall, "Please have the representatives take their positions." You moved to your designated spot thinking as expected, looking at those villagers avoiding you. Do-hyun felt relieved that no one was fighting alongside him. The fewer the better, no need to decide who would be worse off. Aaron stepped forward. "Let's get this match started." Raphael introduced, "The third son of the Jenda clan, Aaron. Aaron is the first representative of the Jenda clan." He swore to himself, "This kid has ruined my party." "The weakest of the Aston family only boasts about winning a local tournament. I will make you beg for mercy." Raphael announced, "Let the duel begin." Aaron charged forward with his sword. "You're done for, kid." Do-hyun's eyes flashed with a cold, sharp light as the swords clashed. Everyone only saw a blinding flash. Raphael raised his hand to signal that the duel had stopped. He directed his palm toward you. "The victor is Raul, while the once arrogant Aaron is now a defeated foe at your feet." This frightened everyone present to the core. Everyone gasped. "Just one move. What just happened?" "I didn't even get to see—" Jenda was furious. "That fool let his guard down. There's no way that idiot has lost the chance to regain our family's honor." Raphael declared, "Let's start the next round." From behind, someone spoke up. "This time, let me." The guy made a noise to get attention. "Raphael, do you know about the opponent, Baron Caspi? He is one of the skilled swordsmen in the city." "Interesting, isn't it?" Baron Caspi, the second representative of the Jenda clan, stepped forward. "Let's duel right away." A swift sword strike came like a gust of wind toward Do-hyun, who blocked it with his sword. The guy praised, "Your foundation is good." A second attack came in quickly and solidly. The reflexes were also very fast. You could tell because Aaron was losing again. The Baron, not feeling tired at all, lifted his sword, preparing for another strike. He told himself he shouldn't use this move against a kid 20 years younger than him, but he still had a lot to do. The Baron unleashed his trump card. The fierce sword strike swept toward him, but it wasn't until the sound of clashing swords rang out that he realized. He was astonished to see the young man in front of him block the fierce attack. The sound of swords clashing echoed loudly in the great hall. Do-hyun was clumsily repeating his family's sword techniques without enough understanding of them. What is he thinking? He didn't know that when using the same sword technique, someone trained systematically would have many advantages. Who would have thought blocking a mana sword would be this simple? The Baron was furious. This skill had no effect. "You're just a piece of trash. How could you do that?" He continued to unleash his ultimate move. "What about this move? You used your sword to block your opponent's attack." Do-hyun thought it seemed like he was using another sword technique learned from the capital through their battles. He was trying hard. Others saw him showing signs of weakness and celebrated. Yes, it had to be like that. The kid had no real combat experience. How could he last long? He thought his family's sword technique would work in this capital full of talents. He sarcastically looked at them. How funny they were, just a bunch of losers who quit because of self-doubt and jealousy. They abandoned their hometown to live in the capital. Although Do-hyun didn't deny that there were indeed some talented people of the same bloodline aiming for the capital with greater ambitions. Still, people like them aren't here, unlike these losers. They only drew a line between themselves and their former families. You're just trying to create what you call a person of status in the capital. Your hand grips the sword tightly, the bright blade slicing toward the Baron who was truly taught by Hyun. You're pathetic if you don't take the time to learn more deeply about your family's sword techniques. Instead of mixing various sword techniques haphazardly, you could have already surpassed your limits. The Baron felt insulted. What does a kid like you know about my swordsmanship? He poured all his strength into his sword hand, his eyes shining brightly. You dare to lecture me, someone who has mastered the fierce skill for 15 years, the reckless strike transformed into a mighty wolf. With sharp teeth bared toward you, Hyun stood calmly in front of the wolf's mouth, while the others rejoiced at the Templeton family's fierce skill. Surely he must have learned that master sword technique while in the guard. With that move, he would win right. You are ready to face the opponent's fierce wolf. Hyun's eyes sparkled with determination as he struck straight ahead, shattering that attack. The Baron stood stunned, staring at what had made him so proud. Disintegrating into smoke, he stared wide-eyed for a long time. Hyun reminded him, it doesn't matter what sword technique you learn. What matters is how well you master it. The guy yelled, lifting his hand to block your sword. You fool, do you think you can beat me with that basic swordplay? Just as Hyun's sword tip lunged forward. Although the Baron blocked it, the light sword still managed to cut through his foot. He gritted his teeth, trying to suppress the pain. What was that last sword strike? He changed the direction of his sword to strike back in an instant. He was in a state of confusion. Now what is this? The fifth stance of Hung is the Void Slash. Baron sees his opponent's move as the eighth stance, the sweeping slash, which makes him confused about what to do now. The third stance, the Void Slash, is the sixth stance, the Tornado Slash. Baron is starting to lose his sense of direction and can't predict anything anymore. He changes his sword technique so quickly that I can't react in time. The guy is gradually unable to resist. Baron is shocked that he can combine so many sword techniques. As he understands, sword skills consist of many techniques, and techniques are just steps. Combining basic techniques together like vertical slashes, horizontal slashes, and thrusts is easy to recognize. So when using sword techniques, linking many techniques together is normal. Baron curses under his breath, but the combination happens so frequently and quickly. Moreover, it's so perfect that I can't predict it. Is it because of the talent gap between him and me? Damn it, the sword light cuts through his wrist, blood oozing out, and the heavy sword falls to the ground with a clang. The calm voice of Do-hyun rings out, See, Baron, just point your sword at your opponent and combine a few standard techniques. After this, do you still think your family's swordsmanship is lacking? Baron is so scared that sweat is pouring down like rain. You monster. He knows the truth. If you possess vision reflexes and decisiveness at that level, swordsmanship isn't important anymore. Baron's body collapses to the ground, no longer conscious. Raphael announces the winner, Raul. The crowd murmurs that Baron Caspi has been defeated. The situation is becoming stranger than ever. According to some sources, I've heard that he hasn't properly learned swordsmanship yet. Jenda after regaining composure. Don't worry, even so, he's still just a kid with that much. Skills, come on, has everyone forgotten who that kid's final opponent is? They must stay calm. If it's that person, no matter how amazing the family's sword techniques are, that's all there is to it. Raphael announces, now let's invite the last person to step forward. He's excited. It's truly an entertaining match. Looking at the trash from the Aston family, the thorn in his side, ruining their reputation, he feels so satisfied. He hopes the kid will lose, but no matter who wins, it doesn't matter. The opponent walks forward with his sword bored, finally getting to his turn. The appearance of this person surprises Raphael. Is he the heir? He doesn't seem too impressed. He's the eldest son of Baron Jenda, older than him. I've heard he's surpassed the limits of a swordsman. Raphael thinks it's fine. Just keep struggling, kid. He announces that the new match, the third round, begins now. The third representative of the Jenda family just stepped in and was cheered on by everyone. Take him down. Do-hyun stares at his opponent, wondering how they can be so serious. Do they want me to fail at all costs? He just walked in boasting, Kid, I won't say it twice. Give up while I'm being friendly. Otherwise, the tip of my sword will strip you bare. If you think you can take me down with those sword techniques, dream on. Those who see his sword are amazed. That transparent mana sword is indeed impressive. He's a swordsman of a different level. Do-hyun reminds him to talk less and jump in quickly. You're estimating the mana that's activated halfway. The momentum is rushing in. He feels confident. Don't even think about negotiating later. Do-hyun skillfully breaks through each of his opponent's moves. He starts to counterattack instead of defending like before. The bright sword rises, his face full of determination. He uses his sword to block Do-hyun's attack. He pushes him back. The kid attacks while shouting, "Nice one, why aren't you shouting anymore?" Looking at the incoming attack, Do-hyun is shocked by the physical strength in that sword. It's incredibly powerful. You just blocked the attack and curiously thought about how long the effect would last. As Hyun coldly glanced at his opponent, he realized it was indeed almost over. Gritting his teeth, he cursed the bastard as he lifted his sword to strike down. "Are you planning to keep blocking like this forever?" The radiant sword slashed towards Hyun, who was calculating that the sword would break soon. If a mid-level mana sword collided with a high-level mana sword, a normal sword would definitely shatter under the pressure. Hyun knew it was time to turn the tables. But just as I thought, that wasn't a real mana sword. Now there's nothing left to see. It's time to end the show, right? The stunned figure stood frozen there. Seeing that he was unharmed, Hyun teleported to his opponent's side, his cold voice softly echoing in his ear. "That's enough, fake master. No more like the Empire's dog." He couldn't believe his own hands. How arrogant. Hyun's expression turned serious as he raised his sword, which was shattered by his opponent's strike. Seizing the advantage, he prepared to charge again. Hyun lifted his fist ready for close combat and threw a punch straight into the guy's face, causing him to stagger back. Hyun raised his fist, preparing to deliver the finishing blow. "Rest in peace," he said as his fist connected with the guy's face, pushing him back. The heavy body fell down the stone steps, immediately spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood. Hyun dusted off his hands and called the referee from the opposite side. The guy could no longer move. Raphael wiped the sweat from his brow and announced, "Raul wins. I declare Raul the winner." The entire hall fell silent. Not a single person spoke. Hyun picked up the broken sword and sighed, "What a pity I like this sword." Philip bowed respectfully and exclaimed, "You did great." Hyun replied nonchalantly, "It wasn't that hard." Hyun reminded Philip, "When this is over, we'll catch the guy I just defeated. I think he has the Empire seal on him." "Got it," he replied. "I noticed his movements were quite unusual. By the way, I brought a sword with me." The sword was placed in Hyun's palm. Now he casually asked, "What should we do?" Agenda was stunned. How could this be? He had indeed broken the rules, but he was still a master swordsman. "Why does my son have to suffer such painful defeat?" "No, could that kid be up to something?" He shouted loudly, "No, he's a fraud. He must have done something. This duel is canceled." Looking around in silence, Jenda felt tense. This isn't good. Everything is ruined. He suddenly remembered, "That's right. The paper, I have to rely on that paper. It's the only way I can stand on equal footing with the Jaden or Randon families." Genda shouted, "Order them to take the documents from him." "What are you all doing?" "Get up." They all drew their swords. "We have no way to retreat now. Charge." Hyun was not surprised. Just as he thought, Philip was ready to play with them at any moment. Jack stood up with his sword. "I've been waiting for this moment for a long time." They protected him in the middle, not allowing anyone to get close to him. He awkwardly scratched his head, thinking, "I didn't expect this. The others are protecting Hyun. No one can outsmart us." He was surprised that the servants here were supporting him in a battle that had erupted. The protectors of Hyun shouted, "Don't hesitate, don't let them through." They wouldn't let anyone escape from the encirclement of those bastards. "No one is allowed to get close to him," he thought to himself. "I need to find out what's going on here." "Got it. It seems I've accidentally acquired a treasure." Jenda angrily criticized them. "You insects, you dare stab me in the back? Is this how you repay me?" It's true that those who eat porridge and throw stones at others are just a bunch of thieves who take the subsidies that should have been ours. We hate the Count's domain just because we didn't know he was the one who stole it. If it weren't for Sir Raul, we would have been enslaved for life. Wasn't it you who was introduced to study at the Royal Academy by Count Aston? You did really well in the competition for teenagers and received a scholarship from the Count to attend the academy. Since the academy dormitory is closed during the holidays, they had to stay at the mansion and their living expenses should have been covered during the break, but Baron Jenda stole that money. He even used them as slaves to cut down on hiring servants. Jack can't believe it. It's insane what he's done to pocket money. No wonder he's the mastermind here. So we mistakenly gave power to the wrong person. I never thought he would be like this. He's waiting for Do-hyun's opinion on what we should do now. If they really fight, someone will get hurt. You reassure him, don't worry, he's on his way. Jack is curious who. The commotion outside made them all turn to look as the large door opened, and a figure strode in confidently, a commanding voice booming, "Step aside, who do you think I am?" The crowd was startled. Baron Jenda was stunned. "What's going on? Who is that?" A man turned pale. "We're in trouble. They've sent that person." The aura stepped down on a traitor. Dylan demanded, "Who dares to draw a sword in Count Aston's mansion?" They were confused. A giant stood there, his hand at the waist of a man. "Is that Dylan? The heir of the Count is here?" Heavy footsteps entered the hall, followed by a group of knights, Dylan leading the charge. One of them stood in front of him, trembling. Dylan glanced down at him. He was so scared he couldn't even breathe. With a single blow, he sent the guy flying out the window, his bulging muscles sneering, "Get lost." The people behind were murmuring, "How is this possible?" "He's the strongest in the Empire." Dylan coldly asked, "Where's that kid?" A person pointed towards him, shouting, "Right here." The bloodied sword in his hand plunged into the ground as Dylan rushed towards his younger brother, lifting him up like a child, asking, "How are you? Did anyone bully you? Are you getting enough sleep and food? Are you okay?" Hyun pleaded, "Brother, I'm dizzy. Put me down." Dylan just noticed. "Oh, right, I should compliment you. It's only been 2 months and you've grown so fast, but it's still not enough. If you're a man, you need muscles like mine." Hyun shyly replied, "Yes, but did you come here dressed like that?" He answered, "Of course clothes these days are so uncomfortable. Showing off this muscular body in the capital is quite interesting," he helplessly thought. "Oh my, the heir of the Count is wandering around the capital without a shirt." Dylan patted his younger brother's head. "It's fine. As a man, you have to be strong, remember that. I'm sure that if you had a body as amazing as mine, Dylan would glance at those cowards behind you like they were nothing. They wouldn't dare swing their swords in front of you. I'm here to settle things with them, and it's about time we ended this right. How dare you draw your swords in the Aston estate?" Dylan's guard is on duty, ensuring that no one gets close to Jenda's desperate heart. So this is really the end. I didn't expect him to bring the deputy commander and the knights here. 25 mid-level swordsmen, it's truly as easy as flipping a hand to suppress the Baron family. He cursed under his breath, damn it. I was planning to turn the game around, but now it's over. Renda glanced at Raphael, hiding behind the wall, the fourth child of Randall still busy hiding in a corner. He looked at the trio behind him, his secret weapons. The knights of the Brandon Kingdom are now turning a blind eye. What useless bunch. Dylan casually walked over to see what was going on. He shot a cold glance at the person hiding in the corner, clearly pointing out that it was Randall. "Come on, greet him." The guy timidly stepped out to greet long-time no-see Dylan. He patted Raphael hard on the shoulder. "It's been a while, hasn't it? You're still just like the fourth child, right?" The guy obediently replied, "Yes, the fourth." Dylan scoffed. "The fourth, huh? You're still picking on the other kids with the third and the sixth, aren't you?" Raphael denied it. "No, that's all in the past." Noticing the unusual tone of his opponent, Dylan frowned. "Are you trying to talk back to me?" The guy trembled. "Of course not." Dylan slapped him hard on the face. "Looks like you're having enough fun today. Huh, keep it up and you won't get another chance to talk to me. From now on, this will be a family matter. You should stay out of it." Dylan smiled brightly and asked, "What's up? Or do you want to stay here and chat with me?" Raphael, scared, tried to backtrack. "I have things to do at home." "Go ahead, Dylan, you're free to go now." Dylan suddenly remembered and said, "If your eldest brother wants to fight, he can come find me. I need to finish this first." He ordered those not involved, "All of you get lost." "This is a family matter of ours," he implied. "Anyone who has drawn their sword must stay. We need to talk." Dylan coldly asked, "So what now?" His tall figure loomed over the pile of papers he wanted to sign. Where did it go? As night gradually fell that evening, 2 people sat in their living room drinking tea. Hyun calmly said, "Thank you for coming, but isn't this a bit too much?" He replied, "You think so?" The boy frowned, reminding him, "You brought the deputy knight and a whole bunch of other knights. What about your wife and kids?" Dylan smiled triumphantly. "If you asked me for help, then this big brother has to give it his all." This situation is really putting Do-hyun in a tough spot, isn't it? You know very well that I sent you a letter late at night, so you must have rushed to prepare to get to the capital in time. You know the reason. I think that's why Dad gave me the seal. That's enough to explain why you're here. Do-hyun can't argue. He's right. If it weren't for the heir showing up in person, things would be even more complicated, and he got here so quickly thanks to the teleportation gate. It must cost around 3000 gold just for everyone to use the gate. Let's forget about that. You're curious about what he plans to do with them. There are about 30 people, and Dylan declares they will pay the price. He won't spare anyone, and you're feeling uneasy because they're still Dad's brothers. Do you think Dad is okay with this? Dylan reveals that Dad hasn't said a word. So this is our chance to get rid of them. We've forgiven them too many times already. The source of the 7 escapes all comes from them. Do-hyun has figured it out. It seems his brother is the one orchestrating this, not Dad. The information says Dylan Aston is very good at calculations and strategies. You're impressed. He's both strong and smart, really impressive. Dylan, as usual, ruffles Do-hyun's hair and asks why he looks so gloomy. Is it because he thinks he'll kill them? Don't worry, I'll just make them pay a little. You did really well today. I'm so proud of you. You frown, saying you didn't do anything. You just dealt with them because they were too annoying. He hugs you tightly, saying you're so cute. How could you not have done anything? You reported them and even won the confrontation, right? Do-hyun goes over to hug Livy. You've grown up. Dylan sets you down on the chair, saying he wants to do that too. But your sister-in-law won't let him touch Livy. After all, he is the father of the girl. Why not? You understand the issue? You don't think he should use those giant hands to hug the girl. After that, Do-hyun gets to the point, saying he has something to discuss with you. You push a piece of paper across the table. This is the document recording your blood contract with Count Jenda. What should you do now? Dylan picks it up and reads it. The family has a total of 27 members. Now it will belong to you. It's yours now. Do whatever you want. Do you need my help with anything? Do-hyun is shocked. Now they belong to you. You think to yourself that this is worth at least 100,000 gold because this is internal strife within the family, so you thought the blood contract would be held by the family. He reminds you that this is the reward you earned after winning the confrontation with them fairly. Now they belong to you. You don't need to worry about me or my family. I've said it before. A man must always have confidence. Dylan mentions your identity, saying you are a child of Aston. So you should be even more confident. You deserve this. Do-hyun suddenly mentioned that she understood. So I'll try to become a confident person. Can I ask you for a favor, Dylan? Can you handle this document for me? And I want to use the Count Zenda's house because Do-hyun understands the value of this document. It also depends on who's holding it. If they want to sell it all, it could be just as troublesome. Dylan has already taken it. I'll take care of them so you won't be at a disadvantage, and as a reward, I'll teach you a thing or two. Let's meet in the yard tomorrow morning. Do-hyun wondered. A reward. Are you going to show off your bulging muscles? Yes, I'll teach you how to develop your muscles perfectly. The enthusiasm made the tea on the table ripple. Dylan asked if she was excited. Are you eager to learn right away? She stammered, yes, definitely. He was extremely pleased to hear this response. That's the spirit. Both Dad and Lauren are very interested, but I'll only teach you. Do-hyun pondered if he had any secrets to building muscles. Now I'm curious too. And Do-hyun had spent a hellish month with his brother, vowing to himself never to train with him again. Finally, the day of the Academy's entrance exam had arrived. Bonat sent him off safely, hoping he would do well on the ranking test. Do-hyun got into the carriage and replied, I'll do well. Those childish tests aren't worth worrying about. See you inside. Dylan sensed that she was really downplaying the test. He confirmed, yeah, why stress over it? He smiled and continued, I'll be back when the entrance exam is over. Don't worry about me. Do-hyun thought it was strange. He expected him to tell him to give it his all. Getting into school or graduating is as easy as flipping my hand. The academy is just an excuse for me to leave home. It's not my main goal. I don't want to think too much about it. Trying to fit in with those kids just tires me out. Why stress? The convoy began to move. When the carriage stopped, Do-hyun got out and they admired the castle in front of them. He marveled at how crowded it was. He didn't expect the entrance day to be so lively. Dylan revealed from behind that this year was special, with some people delaying their enrollment just to wait for this year. Do-hyun was surprised. What's going on? I don't have any information about the academy at all. I even have a whole list of nobles enrolling this year. There must be something going on. But it doesn't matter. I'm not expecting much from school life. As they entered the school, the announcement echoed continuously. Congratulations, Jorath D. Rubin has enrolled in the prestigious Templeton family. Congratulations, young Master Danton has enrolled. Congratulations, Caleb D. Randon has enrolled. Congratulations, Raul D. Aston has enrolled. Hearing this name shocked him. Do-hyun asked Sir Philip what's going on. Didn't you say there wouldn't be anyone from the warrior families enrolling this year? Didn't you say there wouldn't be anyone from the warrior families enrolling this year? So why is there so much of this? Even the prince reported to me before we left Meera. I haven't heard a thing about this, and it's driving me crazy not being in the loop. It's because I've been training with my brother for a whole month. Even Bernard has been busy managing the household. Hyun glanced at Dylan, who was flinching behind him. Can you explain this? You knew about this beforehand, didn't you? He winked and said in a teasing tone, You'll figure it out soon enough. Just take the test lightly and congratulations on getting into school. You switch to alert mode. Something feels off. They stepped inside the grand hall.